Let's try that again. Good evening. Let me double check my audio to make sure we're good. Okay, let's try that again. Good evening. Just checking my sound before we get started. I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in, you guys. Thank you for joining me. Let me get into my intro and then I'll be back.
Hey boos, in this video, I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. I haven't done anything for you to be proud of. Of course you have. You are marrying a man who can support you.
Okay, let me show you guys my hair because I did something different. I got finger waves. So let me turn. I haven't looked at the back. How does it look? I'll have to look back at this later. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into my video. If you're interested in where I be going, just DM me. If you're in Houston, just DM me. I just don't want to say it on a public platform because of my safety, you know. But if you DM me, you know, email me, I'll tell you who I go to. It's just, you know, I can't say it on a public platform. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So shout out to Tonya TKO. Let me go ahead and pull her up here. Okay, she was able to get a hold of Stephanie, the Brazilian feminist, and she was able to get this interview, you guys. So in order for me to do these type of reactions, you have to go support the creator. You got to go support the content creator, you guys, or else they're not going to allow me to react to their work. Okay, so you got to respect where people put in the work, they put in the hours to bring you this type of content, and then I'm not gonna lie, I'm like kind of mooching, you know. So I actually tried to reach out to Stephanie, but I think by the time I tried to reach out to her, it could have been a language barrier or issue, or it could have been that her DMs are kind of flooded and she's being harassed right now. So who knows? But I tried to get her. Tonya got her, and I'm happy for her. So please support the fact that she did reach out to this woman to get an interview and is able to help me bring you this content tonight. Okay. So if nothing else, just go to the original video, give it a thumbs up, share, you know what I mean? But let's go ahead and get into this reaction. Let me share my screen. I may speed it up in some parts, you guys, just because it's almost 3 hours. Okay. So I'm not trying to have y'all here all night.
On the side of the screen right there. Oh, we have an amazing conversation for you tonight. We have Stephanie Ribeiro in the house, as well as prominent Brazilians who are going to speak with us about some of the issues that exist with the lies being told about Brazilian women. We're going to talk about the culture, we're going to talk about the law, and we're going to talk about why one feminist woman decided to take up the cause of running the passport bros out of Brazil. So what we need to do first and foremost, you know what? Listen, I'm going to give you all a chance to get in, but while we are waiting, Go ahead and say hello. Here we go. Say hello. Say it. Oh, let me hold on. I have to get your mic from backstage to the front stage. So here. All right. There we go. Say hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
All right. And right next to her is Tulio, and he's going to be translating for her because Stephanie, do you speak English?
I don't speak English very well, but I understand. And eu fico com vergonha.
But she can.
No.
That is the most English I have heard her speaking. Oh my goodness. Welcome. And we also have Helena, who is, she's right here down at the bottom. Say hello.
Hi, everybody.
And so
it's a pleasure to be here.
She's a psychologist, and she's going to talk with us about the mentality and what is your specialty and what is it that you're going to tell us today, Helena?
Well, I'm a psychotherapist, and I think I can bring some experience not only by my profession to talk a little bit about neurotic men, but also I can bring my perspective from Brazilian women seeing these kind of things happening really next to me because I live in Rio and I am from Rio. And unfortunately, we see it a lot here in my city. So I think I can bring these two things, talk a little bit about neurotic men.
Wonderful. So thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of my housekeeping right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the text out to the text notification squad so that we can get everybody here onto the broadcast right now. There's 300 people on YouTube that are tuning in, and I'm going to send the text out to the squad. And then we are going to start the entire conversation. So come in, grab yourself a drink, some popcorn, because this conversation is going to be good. Listen, when I tell you that the passport bros are sweating, they are sweating tonight. Because remember, Auston went on and he was talking over and over, Stephanie won't have a conversation with me, Stephanie. And we're going to find out exactly why she wouldn't speak with him. And because we got her here tonight when others could not. We're starting the conversation in earnest to bridge the gap between Brazil, the United States, and what's going on with the image that these guys are sullying of Americans, Black American men, American people in general overseas. So bear with me for just one moment. Let me get this link out to everyone, and then we shall go from there. I appreciate all of you showing up early. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of the people who have shared this. Right now, we crossed over 300 on YouTube, but this broadcast is going to go up well above 2,000. So go ahead and tag somebody. Share the video, share it to your groups. A lot of you are in Brazil groups, so share it to your Brazil travel groups, share it to the groups where you're talking about the Manasseh and Passport Bros. And we are going to, give me just a few moments, let me just get the link and then get this out to everyone. Give me just a moment, please. Ooh.
I'm speeding it up, you guys.
I tell you. All right. And then after we get this link out, we're going to go live on all of the other platforms. So, one of the things that's been very concerning is that the passport bros don't know that what they're doing is actually a promotion of sexual tourism. They're pretending as if, they want to get married, et cetera, but they've been doing this for years. We're the wives. What they're doing is they're leaving a trail of broken hearts, broken people, broken expectations, just a lot. So here, let me get this. Give me just one more moment to get all of this set out so that we can have a packed show tonight. I'm just getting the titles. I'm a little bit nervous myself because I'm not really sure why I'm nervous. I'm nervous because, you all know that I love it when my broadcast goes smoothly and it's unpredictable whenever you're live. So I want this broadcast to be a resource for people to be able to draw upon. That's what I want. I want people to be able to draw upon the resource of this broadcast. And so the expectation on me and myself is pretty high because I want people to be able to see and have the conversation, because I think what they're doing is very dangerous. It's dangerous for the women. It's dangerous for us. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous for the air of just living in 2023. So we're going to perfect. All right, so we got all of that out. So I see I'm sweating, I'm so nervous. All right, here. So let's go ahead and get live on these other platforms. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, we are live on Twitch. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook, and we are live on LinkedIn. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. I am your host, Tonya TKO. I am a self-love specialist from TonyaTKO.com. I hope you learn how to love yourselves and one another. On this channel, we use viral topics to teach you about self-love in your own life. And guess what? There's a story that went viral this week. What was that story, you ask? Oh, let me show you. Oh, the passport bros have gotten into the news and they've gotten onto my radar. I'm going to show you one of the leaders of this passport bro revolution. They tell you that they're interested in going overseas to find wives. But no, it's much more sinister than that. I'm going to show you a slew of images. Look, the person that you see to my right or left, depending on where you're looking at it, his name is Auston Holleman. Auston Holleman has made a name for himself as one of the leaders of the Passport Bro Revolution at just 23 tender years old. He has revealed himself to be a person who has questionable morals. He's revealed himself to be a person that he says had a sex drive at 6 years old, in which he was looking at grown women. He said he developed a fetish. If you haven't seen it, go watch the last 2 broadcasts that we did. He developed a fetish for Brazilian women from seeing them in pornography. And then from there, he was lusting after them. He wanted to go to Brazil. Then he made his way to Brazil. And instead of going over there in earnest and forming community, right? He showed other men how they can come over and get easy vagina. Right now, we have behind the scenes. So look, he issued this apology. Oh, I'm not going to put Brazilian women's names in my mouth no more. He got on the elevator. He's heartbroken because he was called out. And guess who he was called out by? Oh, the great Stephanie Ribeiro, who we have right now behind the scenes. Stephanie. This is the feminist that ran this man red, that had the man up on the broadcast with his brow sweating bullets, apologizing, promising to never even mention Brazilian women again. Stephanie, welcome. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome. So what we're going to do, and right next to her is, introduce yourself, Tulio. You are?
I'm the husband.
Boyfriend, I don't know.
All right.
Husband.
So, you know, there were many people who were saying that she was married to a white man, that she was American herself, that all of these other things, that she was a racist, et cetera, et cetera. There were a lot of things that were being said. And as a special treat, we have Helena right here. You see her right below me. Helena is a psychologist who's going to talk to us about the pathological thinking of narcissists, tell us who else you're going to tell us about today.
Well, hi, Tonya. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I think today we have an opportunity to talk about neurotic men and how the neurotic man can look to women through the glasses of pathological glasses. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about it.
Okay,
that's a lot to talk.
Thank you. Perfect. So what we're going to do right now is I want everybody to get themselves geared up. Thank you to everybody who has shared this broadcast and tagged somebody. We're going to jump into the heart of the matter. First, we're going to take a quick 1-minute commercial break for the text notification squad. And then after that, we're going to jump into the conversation. So during this 1 minute, use this as the opportunity to tag somebody. Tag some of the text notification squad. It's $1.99 per month plus fees, or $4.99 a month plus fees if you're international, or $22 for the year, or $50 for the year. There are also free notifications that you can get. The links are in the description. I'll type it here for you all, www.tonyatko.com/text. And we're also going to be taking apples so that you can have your comments read on the screen. I took that quick little commercial break so that I could fix up the screens behind the scenes because they were messing up. And so now I got them fixed. Perfect. Look at that. I did it within that 1 minute. I'm so happy. Yes. So let's get the conversation started. We're going to start with you, Stephanie. I see that there's 4 minutes left on our countdown. So in the 4 minutes, I want you to just tell the people a little bit about yourself. And then after that, you all know how to jump out and then come back in so that we can continue the broadcast, right?
Okay, professor. Tá. Eu sou a Stephanie Ribeiro, eu tenho 29 anos e sou arquiteta. Aqui no Brasil eu tenho um programa de TV e isso já é importante de falar porque muitos desses homens que estão me xingando estão dizendo que eu quero aparecer em cima do Auston.
Well, she's Stephanie Ribeiro. She's 29 years old. She's an architect, but she didn't say that, also writer and also feminist. And she's a host, a TV host of a program of architecture and decoration. So a lot of the
I don't know what's going on with my audio, but hopefully you guys can hear me now. Can you hear me? Okay. Are we good? Okay. Cool. So like I was trying to say, I guess this all happened for a reason. We are a one-woman show, okay? We don't have a team. Toya doesn't have a team. I don't have a team. We don't have somebody working on audio. We don't have somebody producing these shows that we put out here. Give her a break, y'all, okay? Give her some credit. Dang, as Black women, we so hard on each other. Like, if we don't come excellent, it's like the bashing comes in and we start bashing each other. Come on, y'all. Come on. Let's be respectful. We always got to be excellent. So we make mistakes, okay? It's taking us some time to get the show going. But once it gets in, once she gets into it, we get into it, okay? But black women, come on, we got to stop doing that. Like, Black women, we always feel like we got to be here at all times. It's like, if we make a mistake, it's such a big deal. But when other women make mistakes or things are not running as smoothly, it's like they get slack. And it's like we never can get that. So let's not do that to each other. Let's be nice. Y'all know how it is. You would think other Black women would know how it is more than anybody.
Guys that probably some bros, they kind of calling her, saying that she's talking this because she wants to appear, she wants to be famous, but actually she's already famous. She's already a public person. Everybody actually knows her. So, well, that's what she does.
E isso é importante, eu acho importante dizer, porque inclusive a mãe do Auston veio me xingar nas minhas redes sociais dizendo que eu queria ficar famosa em cima do filho dela, mas eu não preciso ficar famosa em cima do filho dela. Eu já tenho meu trabalho, eu já tenho meu dinheiro, eu já tenho minha casa, eu já tenho meu sucesso. O que acontece é que eu sou uma mulher negra feminista no Brasil, assim como várias outras que existem no meu país, e a gente estudou, a gente consegue falar por nós, e a gente ficou muito indignada quando a gente viu o conteúdo desses homens, porque era extremamente ofensivo, e o impacto do turismo sexual, ele é muito grande nos corpos negros e femininos do Brasil.
Well, she said that she doesn't need to be famous because she already has her job, her work, her house, her life. So it's not about this, not about to be famous, to everybody knows, but it's about the fact that she's a feminist. And as a feminist, it's really important to set some marks, some traits, and the idea of the sexual tourism is something terrific. She was really horrified when she said she saw the pictures, the posts, the videos, and these guys kind of, come on, bring it on, come to Brazil. And as a feminist, as a Black feminist, she understands that the worst, the worst experience in terms of sexism is for the Black women. So the Black women suffers more the violence, the ignorance,
E, inclusive, a gente tem dado aqui no Brasil de que as jovens negras têm 3 vezes mais chances de serem estupradas. Então, todo conteúdo que tem esse teor misógino, sexista, impacta muito a gente. E a gente já combateu várias coisas aqui no Brasil em relação a isso. Por exemplo, eu, junto com uma outra feminista negra brasileira, de Jamila Ribeiro, escrevemos um texto questionando a globeleza. E hoje não existe mais a globeleza na TV seminua, que era uma figura de mulher.
We're running down on the minute. Give a quick translation, and then you all are going to jump out of here, and then we're going to hear from Helena. Quick translation, under 1 minute.
Okay, the Black women has 3 times more chances to be raped and to be in Brazil and to be violent. And she puts her feminism in front of this question, discussing and writing, and also in Brazilian society, making things to transform as the stereotypes and things concerning Black women.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you so much for that. All right, so let us jump real quick. What we're going to do is we are going to play the video that started it all. So
she's about to get into where all of this came about. And I told you guys, I believe that it came from that video where he was on the beach and he was asking those questions about how soon would she go home with a guy that she just met. And that was when he was on the beach. So she's explaining that right now, you guys. And so far, what I'm gathering is that Stephanie, she kind of has her hands in a lot of different things. Like, she's a blogger, she's a model, she works for GNT, which is a media company. And she also does a little bit in architect. She does some things with decor and stuff like that. So she kind of has her hands in several different things, several different areas. And as you can see right now, she's replaying that clip of him on the beach because that's when things became really weird with his posts. And a lot of men seem to be so disconnected about why that was a problem, why it's problematic, why it's seen as predatory. So she's playing it again because she's trying to get her audio correct. She's trying to get her audio right.
Explain why that's problematic. But first, let's hear from Helena, who is a licensed psychologist. She's going to talk with us about her specialty, which is going to be telling us about the she's going to be telling us about neuroticism, narcissistic personality disorder. Come forward, Helena.
Well, Tonya, I am thinking about it since I got to know this movement called Passport Bros. And from the perspective of psychology, I think that there's some kind of self-defense and neurotic ways of self-defense based on fear that these men should have for women that are really empowered. So I think they are looking for women that are in a level lower in terms of power, so they can feel a lot more secure to deal with them. So I think the base is fear.
So fear, but fear of what? Well, first of all, tell us about yourself. How long have you been a psychologist?
Now, I've been telling y'all, that this whole entire thing, them leaving and saying they're getting their passports, is fear. And it's only fear for the desperate. It's not even fear for the lonely. Like, it's fear for the desperate. It's fear for the insecure. It's fear for the woman that feels like she's not whole without a man in her life. It's not fear for the women that are self-empowered, that are liberated while single. It's fear for the women that truly have low self-esteem. And it's also fear to the women, the older generation of Black women, because that same fear has been programmed and conditioned and forced onto them. And so they try to they try to transfer that fear into us. Like, you hyenas need to get your shit together. You guys need to get it together, get in order. These men are leaving you, and sis, that's you. And I think that's great, but I don't share the same programming, and I don't share the same fear, because back then, that older generation is, oh, it's better to have a piece of a man than not to have a man at all. And us new generation, we would rather have sanity, peace, health, wealth. Wealth is not just money. It's also just having a higher frequency way of thinking, like having a healthy mindset that does not involve scarcity. We don't share the same programming. And so I've been telling you guys, and I like how she brought on a psychologist that's telling you that all of this is truly based in fear and preying on the weak. And that's what we're seeing. And I'm trying to get that, like, I've been trying to express that to you guys. And it's like, I can't express it any other way than just simply the word fear. And it's a false reality that they're trying to sell you just so they can benefit and manipulate you in the process. And it's something that's been going on within the Black community for years. This is why overall, I like seeing Black people travel. I like seeing Black people travel globally. Doesn't matter if it's a male or a female, because fear is a conditioning that we have all been programmed to believe when it comes to being Black and traveling overseas. So I like seeing us travel. My issue, and like I brought up in my last video about the after show call-in, was that I just don't want this to affect us as Black women who are finally taking risks, taking a chance on ourselves, and traveling outside of the country as well, doing solo traveling, experiencing different cultures, experiencing how we're seen in different cultures as well. Like, I loved seeing that video of that Black woman in her natural walking the streets of Turkey and seeing how she was treated. I feel like we deserve that, but fear has kept us from being able to put ourselves out there in that way. And so now that we finally have the strength and the courage and the guts to like do it, here we are dealing with passport bros who could potentially ruin our reputation as Black people, as Black Americans. And it could actually affect our own experiences. And the reason why I say that is because when it comes to the world that we live in, it's globally patriarchy, right? And so a lot of times the women or the group of women tend to always be associated with the group of men. So it's kind of hard for us American women to separate ourselves and be like, no, we're not really a part of that group. You know what I mean? We're not really a part of that group, but it's hard to do that when you live in a patriarchy global system where we're always seen as a whole group, as a unit. So it's hard. So this is going to affect us as Black women. I don't think Black women are looking at it like that. But if you receive like some type of treatment that you felt was discriminatory, it could be because of this passport bro movement while traveling overseas. And I feel like that's unfair to us because we don't promote this type of behavior. And I think it's important that we continue to speak out against this behavior, because if not, they are going to think that we are a part of this and we're not. So it's not cultural. It's not something that we teach our sons. We don't know where they're really getting this from. And it's really sad to witness. So yeah, you need to speak out. If you need to make a TikTok video, make a TikTok video. Put your perspective and your thoughts out here, because we're not associating with this type of behavior or activity.
How did this become a passion of yours?
Well, I'm a psychologist for 20 years. Actually, it's going to turn 22 years that I am a psychologist. And I think my profession helps me to make some change in the world as I can. So I turn my profession into activism too. And I have some causes that I defend. And I recently turned my knowledge to help this cause.
Oh,
Other than that, I am a professional advisor, and I do some lectures about many things in psychology. And I love my work because I learn every day with my patients, and they are like the best books I could ever read in my life. And I am very fortunate to have this profession. And everything that I will share with you, I have to also give credit to my patients, because I learned so much with them.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. All right. So, Stephanie, what was it that made you decide? Because if you all don't know what's going on, Auston Holleman did that video and that video went viral. And she decided to put an end to what was going on. What was it that made you decide what was it about that video? Because this has been going on for some time, but what was it about that video that incited you to stand up?
Ela perguntando por que eu
o que tinha naquele vídeo que fez você querer...
Sim, entendi. Bom, na verdade, eu vi duas postagens dele que eu respondi e que me chocaram. Primeiro, era esse vídeo que você mostrou, que a moça responde uma coisa que na nossa cultura é muito normal. O sexo no primeiro encontro não é uma coisa absurda no Brasil.
Well, the first video that she saw, he was saying something really absurd, terrific, and the girl was answering him something which is normal, like in our culture, actually even in the States, it's kind of normal. People have sex after the first date. So she was answering about this.
E ele olhou para aquela situação de uma pergunta simples e ele falou: peguem seus passaportes, no sentido de tipo, venham para cá. E os comentários eram terríveis. Eram homens dizendo que estavam arrumando as malas e outros dizendo é tão fácil assim acessá-las.
So she made the situation seems like, you know, it's really easy in Brazil to do this, and there were a lot of men on the chat saying, "Oh, grab your passports. Let's go over there. Let's have this. Let's get these girls because
é tão fácil assim.
It's so easy in Brazil like this, you know." And he was making the situation seems like it's easy to come to Brazil because all the women here are easy.
E aí tinha uma outra postagem, quando eu fui ver, que ele colocava uma menina respondendo que ela preferia ter um encontro na praia. E ele dizia, levem essa menina para o encontro, custa só $10 ou $20.
I'm sorry, because I get like, it's a lot of absurd things. Well, there's another video that he kind of interviewed the girls, and he asks her like, where do you want to have a date? And she answers, I want to go to the beach, whatever. not with him, you know, place that she likes. And he says to the guys, you know, to the public, the passport, so take her to the beach. It's just $10 to get her, you know, like.
Ele nem falou levem a praia, levem ela para um encontro. Ela usou date.
Take her to the date. It's just $10.
10 or 20.
10 or 20. Like bringing the idea, and it's not like we are not talking about prostitution, the people that will sex work. But the thing is, transforming the girl as a prostitute, but she never, you know, put herself in the situation.
Isso para mim foi muito grave e eu comentei para ele falando, você tá fazendo uma coisa super absurda e no Brasil nós temos leis. Nós temos mesmo leis, né, Helena, de assédio. A gente tem uma lei de defesa de defesa da mulher que é muito grande. Nós temos leis inúmeras leis. Inclusive eu disse, a gente tem até delegacias da mulher. E aí os seguidores dele.
We see why they're going over here. You guys, I feel like this movement has a lot to do with the fact that Black men have limited resources. And so being an American in Brazil gives them the type of status that they're not given here in the US. I told you guys that yesterday or in one of my lives. And that's why they're going over there, is because it gives them status instantly. Like as soon as they walk off the plane, it gives them status. Now, is it going to give them the same status as white men? No, but it still gives them like a higher leg up than here in the US, because $10 for a movie date, that's cheap. So again, this has everything to do with being cheap. Just being cheap. And it's not that Brazilian women are cheap. No, American Black men are cheap, because even American white men, they, you know, again, like in one of my lives, one of the girls said, if it's a Euro gentleman, right? Oh, like, come to my yacht. These men are talking, they're probably like, oh, let's go to the beach or come back to my place, you know, like come back to where I'm staying, probably with friends or roommates and stuff like that. So it's really sad. Like, it's really about being cheap. And we know how cheap they are. You know, they make it known every day on this app how cheap they want to be. Coffee dates, you know, they try to take you out on a coffee date. They try to do these things where it just is bare minimum. And in some cases, it's not even bare minimum. It's like below bare minimum. So they have found an easier way out. And, you know, I would say here in the US, we have started to raise our standards. And so it used to be, oh, I'm going to go get me a white woman. She doesn't require much. It used to be that. And then it transitioned to a non-Black woman. I'm going to go get a non-Black woman because she doesn't require much. And now it's like, oh, I have to go outside of North America, Western culture. And now they are Xing out Brazil because the feminists are taking over Brazil and they have poisoned those women's minds. Y'all, because this is all because they being cheap. This is all because they being cheap. It is really, really sad. It's all because they are being cheap.
Riram de mim e disseram, todas as brasileiras estão à venda. É isso mesmo.
So she said that it's wrong. Like she was commenting with answering the videos and on chat, saying, well, what you're doing, it's wrong, it's terrible. And here in Brazil, we also have laws concerning this, laws to protect women, laws to protect the women against violence, laws against the sex tourism and things like this. So
Delegacia, é importante falar da delegacia.
The station against the women violence, police station against the women violence. And his crowd, like the people that were commenting in the chat, they were laughing at, making fun of it. Like, nah, this is ridiculous. All the women in Brazil are prostitutes. The women in Brazil,
really?
The women in the South.
It is a sale.
Sale are for sale. The women there are for sale.
So,
like,
so I have a question. You said that it's typical for a woman in Brazil to have intercourse after the first date. You said that
Yeah, typical.
Eu posso explicar. No Brasil, a gente tem uma comunidade muito grande de religiosos, por exemplo. A gente tem muitas pessoas que são evangélicas, que são católicas, e que são pessoas que levam para uma cultura mais conservadora. Isso existe no Brasil. Mas também existem mulheres falando sobre seus corpos e sobre sua liberdade E a gente tem uma cultura com o corpo, com a sensualidade e até com a sexualidade que talvez sejam diferentes mesmo. A gente tem, por exemplo, camisinha sendo dada no metrô pelo governo, gratuitamente. A gente fala muito sobre sexo e tenta falar sobre sexo de uma forma informativa, inclusive. E não é um problema na nossa cultura uma mulher fazer sexo, sabe? Tem pessoas que são super conservadoras, o nosso ex-presidente era super conservador, isso seria um problema. Mas, de um geral...
Well, hold on. You're saying a lot. So let's get that part translated first so we can know what we're talking about.
Yeah. I will talk like, right. The thing is, we have
She's
a lot
not
of
really
conservatives
helping.
in Brazil. We have a lot of religious people, especially in the inner country of the inner country, I'll say, we have. But also, especially in the big cities, we have a kind of tradition to discuss about sexuality. So it's not something new. We have been talking about sexuality, the woman's sexuality, the thing like for decades. So women, not just the feminists, but women in large cities, they are nowadays, like the last year, something like this, they are taking more opportunity of the idea that they own their own bodies, their own sexuality, and they are discussing about this. Like the thing is, in Brazil, especially the major cities, we are not afraid to talk about our sexuality in a health public service, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just about craziness.
Mas é importante falar sobre a coisa também do preservativo.
Eu ia falar nisso, né? Because sexuality is a health service problem. And for example, there are a lot of condoms that is shared, you know, because we are discussing about ISTs here in Brazil.
Oh, okay. When you say shared, you don't mean used by more than one person. You mean passed out.
No. Done like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Come on.
Sorry, no, I've heard many things. There are people who are turning them inside out and using them a second time.
No.
So, okay.
Like
okay.
you have 3 condoms gave by the government to avoid people get ISTs. So discussing about sexuality in Brazil is something important because it's a health question. It's
right, but the question was, so, and Helena, you're a Brazilian woman. Is it customary for Brazilian women to have intercourse after the first date?
Well, I think what is customary is that we have a choice, a real choice, not a pattern choice or something that we only have to execute, like the social morality says to us. So I think we really have. Well, not everybody. It's different. It's different for different social classes, but many of us have a real choice. So, if I like a man, if I am turned on by him, maybe I decide to go with him. But it's not about his strategy. It's not about. It's my choice. I think it's a very. We have to consider the singularity of this manner. So it's not because that girl in the video said that, okay, I would go now, that's the Brazilian way. No, I think we have to put the singularity in this manner. And I think that what is customary more and more is that we have the choice.
Okay, so what she's saying is that every woman, like depending on the Brazilian woman, will depend on whether or not that's a yes or a no. So that's why that's why they're both saying it's not really a yes or a no. It just depends on the woman. The reason why this was such an issue is because Auston was promoting it as if that was the Brazilian culture way. Like that was the cultural expectation that if you come here to Brazil, you'll be able to sleep with the Brazilian woman on the first night. And what they're saying is it's not really a yes or a no. It's it really depends on the woman because women are in charge of their sexuality. But that's not what Auston was promoting in his video. And that's why it was problematic because it could lead to women being in danger, Brazilian women being in danger. If American men, black men, passport bros, whatever the case may be, is going there with the expectation already in their mind that, yeah, Brazilian women will go home with me on the first night. Like that's dangerous, y'all. So it's not a matter of yes or no. It's just the fact that the way he was promoting it was dangerous for Brazilian women because now passport bros all have it in their mind that, yeah, all Brazilian women are going to be okay with that. When in reality, that's not the case. It really just depends on the woman. So it may be a yes, it may be a no, but it's not the culture there to just automatically be like, yeah, Brazilian women are going to go home with you on the first night. And that's what Auston was promoting, which is dangerous. Okay, that's what I gathered. That is what I gathered from what was just discussed.
E eu acho que é importante a gente pensar que é uma questão de escolha, que a gente cada vez mais fala sobre isso em revistas, em programas de TV. As mulheres famosas brasileiras falam dessa questão da escolha, da sexualidade, da masturbação, inclusive de uma forma supernatural. Aqui no Brasil a gente entende como uma coisa natural, que a gente deveria falar com naturalidade. Ele está colocando numa posição quase como se o sexo também fosse uma coisa, sabe, surreal e absurda, a ponto de parecer que para ele uma mulher fazer uma escolha sexual e ter a sua sexualidade livre é chocante, sabe?
Okay.
We talk a lot about sexuality in TVs, in magazines. We talk about masturbation. We talk about pressure, the parts of the body. So we have been talking about sexuality a long time. The idea of choice, that women can choose, etc. So it's also absurd that, as she said, that for these guys, for these passport bros, etc., they think that this is wrong. The idea that the women can choose, can want, desire something, and say that want or don't want, it's absurd for them. Like the idea that women make choices. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's something about, well, she is really in the position of an object. So it's not about choice. It's about, oh, here in Brazil, that's the way it is. Because they have trouble seeing the person that's talking to them. They are not seeing the person. They are seeing like it was a product. And wow, Brazilian products has this characteristics.
Well, you know what? I'm going to show you all something right now, right? This is a video, right?
Wait a minute. So she just mentioned that passport bros are not coming there to truly connect with Brazilian women. Like they're just coming there and they're seeing these women as a product or a service. So they're not connecting. And we know they're not connecting because I just did a reaction last night with the Angry Man and Destiny. These men don't even know how to truly connect. They don't. They tend to be emotionally unavailable. So it's not shocking. It's not shocking at all that they're going over there looking at women as more so product, property, and service. It's not shocking at all. So she just confirmed that for me. But I kind of already knew that. And then this is when it gets weird for me because I'm like, what?
So this is a video of a guy who went to Brazil and he got lucky and he decided he was never going to come back to the United States again because of how well he was treated by the Brazilian women. So here, let me play a little bit of this for you. All right, so I want to thank King Brujo for this because he sent this video to me. He saved these videos. And so look at this. Oh, hold on. They're saying they can't hear? Oh, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I got to get the sound on. I apologize. Let me see. So you're saying you can't hear? Oh, okay, my bad. I had the wrong button pressed. Because you know I'm doing a lot behind the scenes. I apologize. I will do it again. We'll do it again. Because I want you all to see and hear it. Don't worry. We got time. We'll do it right now.
I've been in Brazil for almost 72 hours now. And I want to say that I want to stay here. I no longer want to live in the United States. I feel a lot.
All right. So I want to thank King Brujo for this because he sent this video to me. He saved these videos. And so look at this. Oh, hold on. They're saying they can't hear? Oh, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I got to get the sound on. I apologize. Let me see. So you're saying you can't hear? Oh, okay, my bad. I had the wrong button pressed. Because you know I'm doing a lot behind the scenes. I apologize. I will do it again. Because I want you all to see and hear it. Don't worry. We got time. We'll do it right now.
I've been in Brazil for almost 72 hours now. And I want to say that I want to stay here. I no longer want to live in the United States. I feel a lot safer. I feel a lot better. I can be myself. Like I was approaching these women and I almost tripped over the chair and they didn't care. I still got their number and I'm meeting one of them tonight.
So thank you to the Real King Brujo. Check him out on TikTok. He's been going at them for quite some time. And then so that guy, he said it's easier to meet Brazilian women. They're nicer. He's kind of corny and he tripped on a chair. Stephanie's face. He said he tripped on a chair. So here's another video. Here.
One more thing. A lot of stuff you deal with in the States, you don't deal with that here. You don't, like, women are more reasonable, as I was saying. So come to Brazil and have a good time.
It's lambda, and
All right. So here, so this is what it started as. So what's the problem with what he's doing right there? He's saying the women here are nice.
Listen. I told y'all the type of men that's going over there. Y'all didn't want to listen. Y'all kept saying I was being mean. I told y'all there's a social issue with them. Like there's a social disconnect. I told y'all because I'm like, sir, what is going on? They are afraid of rejection. Like their ego is so inflated to the point where they take rejection to a whole new level. They do. They take it to a whole new level. When you truly are confident in yourself, you're like, oh, move on to the next. Oh, move on to the next. Because you know what you bring. You are confident in who you are and what you bring to the table as a person. And it's not that you're bringing anything like tangible, really. It's just, you know, the type of person that you are. You're confident in who you are. And so it's just like, if somebody rejects you, you just move on to the next. But they take it, y'all, they take it totally different. Tonya is in the, she's in the chat box, y'all. She's in the chat box. But it's like, y'all, sir, what is going on? It's almost like he's never had a first kiss. It's given that, y'all. It's given that. And then this aligns with the study that came out where men are becoming virgins at like 30 or something like that. It aligns. They don't know how to socially engage with women because I think they are watching pornography. That's what I think. And so they have this idea of what it means to like socially engage, but because they really don't have any real experiences, they don't know how to interact. So they have to use a new culture with the language barrier, right, to kind of fit in and feel comfortable. And it should not be. You should be able to do that in the States. But I think it's because they don't really get out. They don't get out the house, y'all. I think that's what it is. And they don't have these real interactions with women. And so there's this delay in their social skills. And you guys, I'm going to presume that it's going to get worse simply because of the pandemic. That probably set kids back as well socially. So I see this being a really, really big issue. Oh yeah, Kevin Samuels definitely created this, and it has escalated because I keep trying to tell men that everybody that watches your content, that doesn't mean that they have truly like the right intentions or they're in the right mindset. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's continue. Thank you for the super chats, you guys. I'm just gonna put them on the screen so we don't slow down the video.
I tripped, I made a mistake, and they were still nice to me. What's the matter with this?
Eu acho que já começa pela comparação, sabe? Que já me incomodava também nos vídeos do Auston. Toda hora ele fica comparando mulheres brasileiras com mulheres americanas e, no fundo, ele não respeita nenhuma dessas mulheres.
É importante estar falando, eu acho que tem que traduzir tudo. The first thing that bothers her is the idea of comparison. So he's all the time comparing like a Brazilian woman, American woman, whatever woman. So the idea of comparison sounds like he's bringing a point about the respect or the admiration. But the thing is, he doesn't respect any woman, even in America and even in Brazil. And this is something that's terrible. That's important to say.
So what makes you feel he doesn't respect? Because he's giving praise.
O que você acha que ele não respeita?
Não, são, assim, é muito nítido para mim que todos esses homens que estão criando esses conteúdos, estão falando sobre mulheres brasileiras, porto-riquenhas, tailandesas, colombianas, Filipinas, eles objetificam mulheres e eles categorizam mulheres, como se eles estivessem indo no supermercado e escolhendo, eu gosto mais desse suco, e mas tem aquele outro ali, será que eu não pego aquele um pouquinho? Ele tá um pouco mais barato. É como se fosse isso para eles.
The thing is, they objectify women. They treat them as a market, as an object. So, oh, this object is nicer than this one. I want this now, and this is more easier now. Another one, oh, it's difficult, but it's cheap. So that's the idea. That the way that they make the comparison puts the women as an object. So we have the objects in Brazil, we have the object in States, we have the object in Colombia, and they do this with all the countries that they are going through and traveling through.
E isso é tão nítido que para eles é uma questão de exercício de poder. Então, eles vêm para os nossos países latinos.
I really do believe like these group of men don't see women as people. And I told you guys the reason why they psychologically, I don't feel like they see women as people with emotions, their own personality, is because as soon as they step outside of their fantasy, oh, you angry feminist, you angry feminist. Now Brazil is westernized and North American practices are now being and it's like, is it? Or women are just showing you that they have their own opinion, they have their own perspective, they have their own personality. And one thing that I have learned, because I love women, and one thing that I have noticed is that in nature, we share a lot in common. So when it comes to the nature of a woman, it doesn't matter. You can jump from culture to culture, continent to continent. It does not matter. Like, as women in nature, we like security, we like stability, we like to feel safe, we like to just feel stable. That's what we are in nature. So it doesn't matter. Like, a woman is going to expect for a man to provide, because in nature we all share that in common. So it just doesn't matter where they go. It's just because they're going to these countries that are underdeveloped, or they're in the process of developing, right? They're able to get away with offering a woman less because the countries that they're going to are either underdeveloped or developing. And that's how they're able to get away with all of this. But honestly, you guys, as soon as that woman steps out of their fantasy, right? Basically a woman just allowing him to do whatever, whenever, however, as soon as she shows personality, a little bit of attitude, it's like, oh, you're an angry feminist. I'm like, dang, I can't be a woman, an individual with my own mind, my own personality, my own emotions, my own experiences, without a man taking it like, oh, you're angry. And like they call everything and everyone angry and difficult because they don't have a wide range of being able to express their emotions. So you're either going to be feminine and friendly, or you're going to be angry. Like, you can't show any disappointment, you can't show any frustration, you can't show any irritability or anything like that, because you're automatically going to be seen as angry. So it's just a matter of time, because like I said, they're calling her the angry feminist. She seem angry to y'all? She just seems like she's a woman with her own mind that's taking a stand, and she's empowering other women to do the same. What is wrong with that?
Com a ideia também de que o valor do dinheiro que eles têm nos Estados Unidos, aqui ele é muito maior. Então é isso que dá para eles o exercício do poder. E eles se sentem nessa posição de poder. E eles vão deixando um lastro de destruição afetivo, porque essas mulheres também se apaixonam, familiar, porque a gente não sabe até que ponto. Já tem histórias aqui no Brasil de homens que estão deixando filhos.
The thing is, this is something about power. The idea that these men can go to countries that they think or understand that these women are poor or in a worse condition than them, and they can exercise this power. And there's also something about the currency. For example, $1 today is 5 reais, So here in Brazil, if you have like 1,000, it's 5,000 in Brazil. So they think that they can exercise this power because they think that they kind of have money. Most of them not, but they have more money here, and they are making this. And also, let's a big tale of destruction, affective destruction, sons. Some of them are pregnant the women and makes babies around these countries, like around the city.
So they're impregnating them?
Yeah, impregnating them, and also the exposition because of these videos, these photos, the way that they are showing the women, as we saw in Brazil, also, it's a tale of destruction.
A gente, só explicando a história de gravidez, eles procuram também americanos que moram no Brasil. Então, um amigo meu que é americano, e acho que é importante dizer isso, a gente tem amigos americanos, e eles estão super preocupados com isso, porque eles moram no Brasil e respeitam a nossa cultura. Um deles disse que um desses caras já tem uma mulher grávida dele em Salvador. Então, é totalmente irresponsável.
Well, the thing is, we have some American friends living in Brazil, people that are right, they respect our country, really interesting. And they are worried too, because these guys come here, they try to get into the American community here in Brazil, but the American community kind of, okay, no, like they understand that they are not cool people, and they are impregnating the girls here. Like there's this friend of us told about the story in Salvador, the city that Auston was actually. Another guy, it's not him, but another guy went there, the same thing, passport bros, etc., and impregnated the girl and let her, just flew to another country. So that.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you that what was gonna happen? It really sucks. I really feel like these men are running from themselves, honestly. And how you going over there impregnating women and leaving them? The country is already underdeveloped. Like, that's not going to help their economy. And I'm telling you guys, like, if it gets as bad as I think in my mind, because I'm on TikTok and I'm like, dang, they like really are impregnating non-Black women at an alarming rate, and they're pumping and dumping. And I'm thinking like, okay, so now that non-Black women here in the US are like peeping game, right? Now they feel like they have to travel across seas to get other women, right? And impregnate them. It's like weird. And I'm realizing that these group of men, like passport bros, they are really disconnected with like their sperm, their seed. And I find it to be interesting because I believe Cynthia G called it first. She called it first. She said, Black men are culturally disconnected from their seed. And this is why they feel like it's always the woman's fault. They never want to hold the man accountable. It's like they are really, truly disconnected from where their seed lands, who it goes into. They really could care less. They don't take pride in their sperm. They don't take pride in their seed. So it does not surprise me that they are going over there impregnating women. It does not surprise me. They're not. Did you hear him say they're marrying them, then impregnating them? No. He said they're impregnating them. That does not shock me at all. And it's sick, y'all, because no one is thinking about the children that are gonna come from this quote unquote passport bro movement. Their dysfunction is crossing seas, you guys. Like, oh my God, it's really crossing seas. And eventually, I think they're gonna either amp up the child support, come up with some type of law or something like that to make it harder for them. Because if it really grows, like if this passport bro movement grows in the way that I think it will, they're probably gonna put laws in place. And the reason why I say that is because you're starting to mess up the white man's money. See, when you start to mess up the white man's money, that's when they start to step in and like, hey, bro, you're doing too much. Because they don't play about that. When you start to mess up the white man's money, you start to mess up the white man's plans and what the white man got going on. That's when he step in and be like, hey, step back in line. You getting out of line. That how it is. You know how it is. That's exactly what's about to happen, because they really think they about to go out here and just spray their sperm everywhere and not be held accountable for that, not be responsible for that. That's crazy.
Well.
Wow. So you know what, Helena, let's jump over to you as a psychologist. What is your take on what may be going on? Why do you think this is happening like this? Oh, we can't hear you.
Sorry. I muted so it doesn't give echo. But I was listening to Stephanie, and I was thinking about this pregnant girl, and I am thinking about we dealing with sexism in our culture and our country. We already are dealing with it, and sometimes I'm not saying that it is all the time, but sometimes the experiencing with a foreign guy, maybe it brings like a fantasy that he is the Prince Charm, because maybe he is the different one. He's coming from another country. Maybe he's going to value me more. And so I think this lack of this affective destruction, wow, it's really cruel. But answering what you were asking, Tonya, I was watching the video you put here, and I saw the guy claiming that here he can be himself. And I am thinking, well, who are you? Who are you? Why do you have to go to a country that is a developing country? Why do you have to come from a developed country to a developing country and encounter women that maybe are more vulnerable, at least economically?
I'll tell you what they're saying. So they're saying that because the culture is more traditional, you know, the men take care of the women and play the traditional male role, and the women play the traditional female role, that the culture creates submissive women who know how to take care of a man, who are very gentle and feminine. This is what they're saying. And we're going to read the apples because there are people who are sending the cash apps through, and some of the passport bros are in the comments. Right now we have 2,000 people watching on YouTube. We have 100 people watching on Facebook. So there are a lot of people in here. So if you want to get your comment in, if you want me to read it on air, just it's $Tonya TKO, and I'm going to read the cash apples in a moment. But that's what they're saying. I'm going to show you a video, right? And in this video, there's a woman. So there's a guy. He has, let me see how the best way to get this up on the screen so that everybody can see it. Because I saved the video because I didn't want them to delete it, because they started deleting their videos after yesterday. They started deleting them because
I told you they was deleting videos.
Give me 1 second. Here it is. Here it is. It's pulling it from my phone. It's not gonna let me play it from the phone. But you know what? I can put it right here, up close, right? If you can see that. So she doesn't know this guy, but she's kissing him. She's in the restaurant, right? She's a server in the restaurant. Can you all see that? And so she's just enamored with him. And then so she's rubbing on his bald head. She's kissing it. She's hugging him. She even takes her hair and starts flapping it all around so they could see she has long hair. And she's just so enamored to be near him, right? And so what man wouldn't want to come over for this type of treatment? Tulio, your face. Tulio, your face.
I'm really sad. I will say something about this because also I researched.
If you could just translate real quick to Stephanie. The question is, oh, you understand, Stephanie?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would answer because this is something that is really important when we discuss about masculinities, like how these guys are reproducing the idea of power focused in a project of masculinity of the white man. And this is something really interesting because when I was used to live in States, I lived in Nashville and then in New York.
Now, wait a minute. Wait. I gotta break this down. So I remember years ago, because I haven't been tuning in to Cynthia as of lately because y'all know I do this thing where I try not to tune in to content creators where we mimic similar content. So my talking points and my viewpoints are not theirs, they're my own. So I haven't been tuning in, but I remember when I was tuning in to Cynthia on a regular basis, she said that Black men are white supremacists. And I'm like, now wait a minute, because it was so crazy to hear. But when you think about it, it's starting to make sense. And that is what he's saying. He's saying Black men feel like the only way they can show their masculinity is in the way that white men show their masculinity. And white men show their masculinity sometimes as white supremacists, depending on the white man. And so that's basically what he's saying. It's all about power. And if you watched my live last night, you heard that black man say power, dominance, leading, leadership. It was all about control. And that is what he's saying. So all of this is starting to become full circle in my mind, because I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. And I think it's because, honestly, when you think about it, white men have always been up here when it comes to black men. Okay. And simply being because that's how the system works. Like, that's how the system is created. So they have been comparing themselves to what they are doing and culturally picking up their ways and their practices and how they are maneuvering through relationships, how they maneuver through conducting business, investing, making profits and things like that. And so they have been looking at them in comparison and wanting to be them. And you know what I find to be so interesting about this is that, isn't that what they say that we do when it comes to white women? Our hair, makeup, nails, and stuff like that. But because beauty is not something that they have to worry about, something being conventionally attractive is not something that they have to worry about, because for them, beauty is not capitalism, right? But for us, it is. And so they mock us when it comes to that. But what about this whole control thing that they have going on? This, I need to be in control. I need to be in power. Isn't that you mimicking what white men do? Ooh. Had to break that down just for a sec, because I'm like, that makes sense. Okay. So that's why they're so controlling, I guess. That's why they feel like they got to go to Brazil or any of these other underdeveloping countries and, you know, take over or take advantage or exploit these women, because that's what they saw white men do.
I remember some conversations about the idea that the black man doesn't want the black woman because the white women are more traditional. They take care of them. They make the traditional role. They cook. They blah blah. You know, the idea of the women submissive, whatever.
Right.
So they using these arguments is basically the same thing. You know, so what they are transporting. You know, okay, now it's not more the white girls in America, and after yards the Latina girls in America. Now the women in Brazil, in Colombia, in Filipinas, they are doing this for us. But what is the same line that we see here? This discourse, this idea that we are perceiving our sense of ownership, our sense of human, representing or imitating the idea of the project of power of the white man, you know. So this is sad for me, and also
imitating,
you know, yeah, because we have a lot of discussions, we have a lot of publications, we have a lot of great people, especially in the States. I made a translation of a book from Bell Hooks, for example. Bell Hooks, a lot of texts about talking about masculinities and the idea that how we should surpass this project, how we should we black men should not be feel represented by the idea that we want the power, the honor. And when I see something like this, Passport Bros, this type of the publications, this type of posts, this type of arguments, oh, the women in Brazil, they are traditional, they will take care about us.
Inclusive, eu tenho um ponto sobre isso. É muito engraçado, porque a Tonya não sabe, mas eu conversei com algumas moças e elas disseram que essas mesmo moças que ele interpelou, elas acharam ele machista, porque elas sabem perceber o machismo. Ele ignora que as mulheres brasileiras não são o que ele acha. Uma delas me disse que achou super machista um comportamento dele.
I just wanted to say really, really quick, because I'm really inspired right now. Tulio is on purpose. He's a psychologist. He has a program dedicated to Black men and masculinity. Stephanie is on purpose. She played the Brazilian feminist role that brought this conversation today. Tonya is on purpose by making this video and interviewing these professionals. Everyone is on purpose. Do you see why being on purpose is so important? It brings change. So if you're not on purpose, you need to get on purpose, because that's what this is all about. Change. Needed change. Not wanted change. Not no, needed change. Be on purpose. If it's you going to school to become a psychologist, a sociologist, I think I said a psychologist earlier for Tulio, but a sociologist, Go to school, do the work. So then you can branch off and really be in your field of passion. Okay. Because that's what it's really about. So be on purpose. And this is what it's really about. It's about stuff like this. Okay. But let me continue because I don't want to get preachy.
E ele achou que no Brasil ele não ia encontrar feministas, assim. E no fundo, mesmo essas, acho que você traduz mais de uma forma mais simples, mas mesmo as mulheres mais simples, elas já têm hoje uma noção básica das coisas, porque a gente fala de feminismo em novelas, que é mídia de massa.
Even the girls that he kind of interviewed, Stephanie could talk with some of them, and they said that he's sexist. Like they could perceive the way that he talks, the things that he talks, like they could perceive, and he thought that there was no feminism in Brazil, which is ridiculous because we discuss feminism even so popular. Even though we are far from the real condition, the real equality for the women, we discuss feminism publicly in Brazil. So even the girls that he interviewed, that he thought that he could deceive, these girls understood that he was sexist, the way that he talked some things.
Okay.
The way
So
that,
let me ask you. So let me ask you this question: is that illegal? Is it illegal for them to say, "Wow, you know, the women here are so nice. Come over and meet all these nice women"? Is that illegal? Because you got the authorities involved, correct? For promotion of sex tourism. So is it? Oh, go ahead.
No Brasil não turismo sexual não é ilegal, tipo, não é considerado crime. O que a gente entende que é crime é assédio, exposição da imagem da pessoa de uma forma que corrompa a moral dela. E a gente também entende que a promoção à prostituição é crime. Então, se prostituir no Brasil não é crime, mas você dizer que essa mulher está aqui e ela é uma prostituta, vem aqui pegar essa mulher, isso é crime. Porque o ato de você promover a prostituição no Brasil é crime. Porque, no fundo, a gente está dizendo que é cafetinagem.
Yeah. The thing is, in Brazil, to be a prostitute is not a crime, but to be a pimp is. To promote prostitution, and the thing is, behind the sex tourism, there's this promotion of prostitution. So the thing, it's not illegal to say, oh, come here, because it's not this, but it's how this is connected with the promotion of sex tourism and the prostitution and the
Vai depender,
abuse.
Foi como eu disse, a gente fez realmente uma denúncia, a gente levou para uma promotora, e agora a lei vai ter que interpretar todas as coisas que ele disse e que ele postou. Então,
uma coisa importante. Sorry, I forgot another thing important that she said. There is this abuse, the promotion of prostitution. This is a problem. This is illegal, and also to expose people without the permission. This is illegal. So we have a law.
To film people without their permission is illegal.
Exactly, this is illegal. We have a new law actually talking about this. So.
E inclusive eu ia dizer que essas leis elas se interrelacionam. Então uma promotora vai avaliar. Se você está expondo uma pessoa sem permissão, e isso fere a moral dela, vai se agravando a situação. E se você não, mesmo que eu não seja uma prostituta, mas, vamos supor, exemplo, o Túlio faz uma postagem dizendo, a Stephanie tá aí, custa $10, mesmo que eu não seja uma prostituta, e mesmo que ele não queira dizer que eu estou sendo prostituída, se ele deu margem para isso, a lei pode entender que ele está promovendo a prostituição.
So
as coisas se interrelacionam.
The prosecutor they are analyzing this because they have to understand the interpretation of what this kind of movies, the videos, with what this kind of posts, if they can give the idea that you are promoting the prostitution with that person, you know. And even there's the moral stuff. For example, if you film someone without permission with this kind of message, you can, you know, put in this person the idea for others that will watch that she is a prostitute, even though if she's not, you know, without the permission.
Helena, so jump in here.
Okay, so Tulio is saying, Stephanie and Tulio is saying that it was the way it was promoted. It was the way that it was promoted. First of all, because prostitution is legal, right? How he was promoting those videos, it's almost like it was giving like men can be in control, but if it's legal there to prostitute, women are in control of what that transaction looks like. But the way he was promoting it was in a way of where men would be 100% control in what that would look like. That's what I'm picking up on. Number two was how he was promoting those videos. Once again, it's trying to make it seem like that's the culture here in Brazil for women. And it's like you're trying to paint all Brazilian women with one brush, with one color. And that's just not a fair representation of the culture there among women. So that's why. And then also he said pimping is illegal. And, you know, in the way that he was promoting those videos, like the way he was doing the whole promotion in his videos, that's what it was. He broke the law there. And then he was exploiting them for views, which is also breaking the law there. And like I said, I don't think like passport bros are studying the culture, the laws before traveling over there. I don't really feel like they're studying the language. And so because of that, it creates way more, it can leave room for easy manipulation. Easy. Right. That's so true. That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, that is so true. But they're not even charging. And they would be charged. But he's promoting them as if it would be free. Free.
Here and give your thoughts on what you've been hearing and what you know from being a psychologist in the field.
Yeah, I am thinking about cognitive dissonance because we have a saying here in Brazil that it's as old as walking ahead, tão velho quanto andar para frente. This separation between the wife and the mistress, and I think it's like different versions of this splitting, because it's really a difficulty that they have to deal with a woman as she is, as with the person, because actually maybe they are fearing their own emotions. So if I am a man from this movement and I like a woman and she is traditional and I am going to marry her, still I like her, but I put her in this place, in this condition, or the other way around. I think this girl is only for me to have sex with her, so she is categorized and known. They have the fantasy of knowing, but actually they are not really connecting to anyone, and they are having a really poor relation with everybody because they can't deal with the person, the whole person. So
you know what? That
split.
makes a lot of
It's a
sense.
mechanism of defense.
I want you all to see something that's on the screen right here, right? So this is the guy who we showed in that video. His name is Floyd.
Wait, before she gets into that, isn't that how we're treated as Black women? Like objects? Like we're good enough to have unprotected sex with. We're good enough to impregnate even, right? But they don't want all of us. Like they don't want to have to deal with us on a daily basis. And this is why I'm like, do they even like women? I don't really think they do. I don't think they like us. And the reason is because it's like you don't like everything that comes with being involved with a woman. You just want just the sex. But they don't want to pay for that. So their way of getting it for free is to pretend that they're all in while having one foot out and manipulating women in the process into selling them this dream that they're all in, but in reality, they're not. And it's because they don't want to have to deal with our emotions, our personality, our mood swings. I think this is why we see such a huge thing in, I don't know, it's just something about that fourth trimester where women are going through postpartum and men tend to check out because they don't want to deal with that. Oh my God. But we're supposed to be down. We're supposed to be ride or dies. If a man is broke, we are supposed to be there. But when the tables are turned, they leave. They're out. They are gone. They have checked out. And then even if I've seen it in marriage too, like if men, like things are not going the way that they want, they tend to check out of the relationship. Have you ever been in a relationship with a man where he is like checked out and you know that he's checked out and you know that he's like barely really giving anything at all? And he's so checked out to the point where he becomes like a roommate, but you guys are like not really connected. This explains a lot. So yeah, like I agree. They don't want to really give themselves. Like they don't. And I think it's because they fear being truly connected to a woman. They don't want to give their emotions. They protect it. They guard it.
And Auston put up a post that says, Floyd did it. Can you do it too? And he's like, Floyd did it. Can you do it too? And so Floyd, who is a guy who's very corny in the United States, he came over to Brazil. He met a very cute young lady, and you see there's a bed behind him, right? And so this is, let me go back the other way. And you see there's a bed behind him. So he has now found himself a cute girl. And one of the things that you said about how they used to say that white women were so submissive, we have under a minute. You all have to click to come back in, okay? So what are your thoughts on this? So he's showing the guys that, so now he's organizing to figure out a way to get more men to come over, figuring out ways to get men to come and meet these cute girls. Is that a form of pimping? Oh my goodness, we done. Is that a form? That's a question right there. That's a question right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the apples because I want to get some of your thoughts on what it is that we've been seeing, right? Are you all enjoying the show so far? Let me know how your life.
Yes, we are. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me know how. I'm downloading another picture that I wanted to add to the group because there's another thing that I want you all to see, right? There's another thing I want you all to see because he's acting as if he's going to be a concierge for these men to come over. Let me get us back up and running behind the scenes. Yeah, so he has now created a concierge service where he's bringing men over where he's
trying to create
bringing
like
men
a
over
Harlem.
where they can now be able to find themselves a cutie, you know, like all right. Welcome back. So there's another thing that I wanted you all to see. So this is an image on the screen, right? This is an image that was created as you see, and shout out to the Real King Brujo who sent this over to me. I had no idea about this, but in this photo he says, "Stop. Help other brothers have success overseas by liking and following the Facebook page now." And they showcase the picture of this guy who would be considered corny in the United States with a cute girl. And one of the things that you were saying is true because you know how they used to say, "Oh, white women are more submissive, etc." So then what ended up happening is they burned their bridges in the United States with white women. They started saying, "Oh, you know, mixed women are better." And then they burned their bridges there. And then now they've gone over to different countries, but they're not going to countries that have people with the Negroid phenotype. They're going to countries and targeting women who look mixed, who are mestizo, mezclado, you know, mixed, and promoting them as better. What are your thoughts on that?
Eu queria muito, inclusive, colocar um ponto que me chocou, né? Pensando nessa história toda, de como eles, nessa busca deles por essas mulheres submissas, porque no fundo eles estão procurando isso, o Auston faz umas entrevistas que são mais longas no canal dele. E uma delas me chocou muito, porque ele pergunta tanto para a moça qual é o tamanho de pênis que ela gosta, quanto ele pergunta se ela sabe cozinhar e se ela quer ter filhos. E isso para mim é surreal, porque diz muito sobre a forma como eles enxergam essas mulheres. Elas estão praticamente na cabeça deles a serviço deles. E é isso que eles estão buscando. E é extremamente surreal isso em 2023.
Okay, translate to Leo, translate.
Well, something that she saw that was shocking her, like she was shocked, is in one interview that Auston made. He asked to the girls what the size of penis does she like, and if she knows how to cook, she knows how to take care of a house, and sons, make sons, etc. And for Stephanie, that's something absurd because the only thing that the only way that they see the woman, they look at a woman is in the subservience place. You know, the woman is to have sex, to cook.
We talked about subservient,
to take care of the babies, and that's that. You know, like so. This is a really narrow-minded, misogynist perspective that shows in his interviews how he talks with the women.
Helena?
Yeah, I think that is it. they don't really like women because they don't want to relate with them. They make much efforts to not really connect with us women. So I think in the end, this kind of guys, they don't really like women. They don't like the people we are. They don't want to really know us.
And you know what? The reason why I think that the reason that they do this is because they don't really want to get to know themselves. They don't want to get to know themselves. They don't really like themselves. When you don't like yourself, how can you connect with other people? You don't even like yourself. You don't even know who you are. You don't. But you'll put on like this persona, but the persona is very shallow. It's very surface level. So if you put on this persona, it's shallow, it's surface level, you don't know how to connect with people. You won't know how to connect with people. You can't connect with people because you don't know yourself. So they don't love themselves. Like, really, y'all, it really just comes down to self-love. That's what I'm hearing, y'all. All I'm hearing is the lack of self-love, the lack of wanting to know yourself instead, because, like, I don't know, like, they don't like themselves. Like, you can't expect for a man to love you and like you if they don't even like themselves. And I think that's why they go around slandering Black women, the women that they come from, because they don't even like themselves.
They put these strategies in front of us. And they don't see us.
Tanto, Helena, que eu acho que essas fotos que eles publicam é quase como se eles estivessem publicando um troféu. Do tipo, olha só o que eu tenho. É tipo, é quase como se, tipo, a gente vai comprar uma bolsa e fala, olha que bolsa linda eu tenho. Eles fazem isso com essas fotos dessas mulheres e promovem essa ideia ridícula e absurda.
E ostentam, né? Como um produto, né? Para mostrar uma espécie de, enfim, de
translation.
Um homem que reafirma a minha masculinidade.
The way that they show the women in the pictures is like trophies, you know, like, oh, you see what I got, you see, you know, what I have, and this is this perspective. This is objectification, as we said, and it's, well, it's terrible.
Yes.
Okay, but objectification is not illegal. That's not illegal. There are a lot of men who feel that way, especially in traditional societies. But I'm going to show a screenshot here on the screen. If you can see what it says here, it says women in Brazil are for sale. That's just facts. Here, let me get the whole thing shown so that you can see. Okay. So it says here, you see, it says most women in Brazil are for sale. It's just facts. Prostitution is a way of life down there, same as in the DR or in Colombia. What are your thoughts on this? Is it a way of life?
Esse homem é horrível. Esse homem, ele me mandou várias mensagens e ele disse para mim que ele viaja para vários países e ele citou vários países. Então ele é um turista sexual profissional. Ele vive disso.
I need to add this because we always hear about how these same group of men complain about 304s. 304s, city girls, 304s, city girls. And it's very clear to me that men, you know, it's not that you're a 304 that's the problem, right? Because they love to say, oh, women are not traditional. They're not traditional enough for me. And I'm going to go out and get a more traditional woman. They don't want traditional. They don't. They're not looking for that. Because if they were, why are they promoting Brazil women as if they're prostitutes? But you made 304s and city girls, right? Like your biggest enemy. Like you criticize them every day, but you're going over there looking for basically the same thing. Right. They're trying to get a preference at a discount. And that's exactly what it is. It is, y'all, this is it. And this is why I be telling y'all, stop listening to them. They don't make sense. They haven't made sense since the civil rights movement. I'm just being honest. That's the last time they made sense to me. So they're not fighting for no cause. What cause are they fighting for? Sex? Free at a discount? With a preference? That's what they fight. This is the cause? Seriously? Oh my God. And just stop listening to them. Like, tune them out. They don't make sense. Because how are you going to a whole new culture, to a whole new group of women doing the same thing? But because you can get her at a discount, you praise her. That's it. Stop listening to them. They don't make sense. They don't make sense, y'all. Like I said, they ain't made sense since the civil rights movement. So do what you want with that information, but they ain't fighting for no real cause. They just trying to get their penis hard, and they tired of jacking off in their sock, and they don't want to have to deal with an American woman's standards and her expectations and things like that. So they have found an easy way out. But like I said, eventually they're not going to have anywhere to run. This is just the beginning.
Sabe, ele começou a me confrontar para defender o Auston, e ele estava dizendo que ele vai para qualquer país, ele consegue mulher em qualquer país, porque todas elas estão à venda.
The guy that made this post sent several messages to Stephanie saying that he traveled for a lot of places, a lot of countries, and he affirming this, like, the women are prostitutes, they are for sale in these places, I will keep doing this, the passport bros will do this, you won't stop us. It's so
I mean, you seem frustrated, Tulio.
Yeah, pretty much, because as someone that tried to make a public, well, I didn't do this in the States, I did more in Brazil, but tried to do a public discussion about Black masculinities and the things that, but the real thing about Black masculinities is there are a lot of behaviors that we Black men automatically, culturally do. And this is not about us. This is more against us. Because when we Black men are working on misogyny, are working in sexism, are working in these projects about to be or try to be the power white man, we are usually killing our sisters or people in our community. We are degrading our relations in society. We are breaking up the ties or the possibilities to understand and to connect with other sufferings. For example, the suffering of the women, the suffering of the LGBT people, the suffering about people in other countries, etc. So we are in this kind of trap that makes us believe that through this project, this hegemonic masculinity project, we can be better men. And that's frustrating to see men doing like this, passport bros, and etc. and etc. And there's this complication.
Well, let me ask you this question. So you're talking about Black men, but we also talked about white men. White men have been doing this since before the colonial era. As a matter of fact, this is how Brazil got so mixed, right? Brazil got mixed because of the Portuguese that colonized and brought so many people over from Africa, and then capital R worded them. And then now there's a lot of people who are mezclado, mestizo in Brazil. So white men have been doing this. They continue to do it. What's different about the passport bros that has you all up in arms?
Yeah, that's the thing for me, because this is a colonial project. So we can't talk about liberation and transformation, or even revolution, if you are doing the same steps, if you are we are connected with a project that is responsible for death, for murder, for rape, for violence, especially against the Black women, because that's, as we told Tonya, it's colonial project. And how the colonial was made about violence and rape and domination and oppression.
Right. So question for you, Stephanie, have you reported any white?
Okay, she's about to ask, has she reported any white men doing this? You guys, I feel like it was a good question, because I tell women all the time, like, women are oppressed because of man. So putting them on a pedestal just does not make sense to me. You will never see me out here worshiping a man that walks this earth. I'm sorry, because it just doesn't make sense, because we all know that women are oppressed. So I always tell you guys, date out, date around, vet everyone, because one thing men will have in common is some misogyny. They will. And it's just, it's part of their programming as men in this system that we live in. But also, I want to point out that Tulio here is a Black man. He's in his masculinity, but he will not be respected by Black male American culture. And we know why, because he's healthy. He tends to be balanced. You can tell he's more comfortable. He's comfortable in both his feminine and his masculine energy. And this is his wife, and they're able to have intellectual, stimulating conversations. So they're not going to respect him as like this masculine Black man. I saw comments of them saying and making fun of his sexuality as if he's not sitting next to his wife. They don't respect Black men who actually show a healthy image when it comes to masculinity, because they have been programmed to believe that masculinity is in fact toxic. Like, he can sit here and have a conversation and converse and not be overly emotional, you know, like just stable in the mind where you can have effective communication. So they don't respect men like this. And it's really sad. It's really sad. And so a Black man like himself would be overlooked, you know, probably outcasted, you know, and even by some other Black women. And the reason why I say that is because some Black women out here, they have this idea of what Black masculinity is. And a lot of times the idea that they have, which was again programmed to them culturally, is also toxic. And so he would probably be overlooked. It's sad all the way around. But I just wanted to point that out because this is a Black man. He's in his masculinity. He's sitting next to his wife, and they're just having this interview with us. And it's really sad because he makes so much sense. And Black men like himself should be heard, you know? But it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to break that.
Men to the authorities? Or is Auston the first person that you reported, and why?
Por que os homens não...
Não, se você já
denunciou
homens,
sim, eu entendi. Então, na verdade, eu achei super risível quando eles disseram para mim que eu estava só denunciando ele por ser um homem negro. É óbvio que eu estou denunciando a conduta de homens negros que eu considero errada, porque eu sou uma mulher negra e a conduta dele afeta a mim e a todas as outras mulheres negras que são o meu foco e a minha defesa.
Ela assim, she listened to something, people like, oh, you are just talking about Black men, you are not talking about white men, etc. I said, yeah, for sure I will talk about this when I see a Black man doing something that is wrong, that is damage for the people, for the culture, for the woman. So there's no problem on this. Like, if a Black man is doing something that is harmful for us as people, as community, she will talk about this.
Porque isso afeta nós, mulheres negras, principalmente.
Right, but the question was about white men. The question was about white men who have been doing this for hundreds of years. The question was, have you ever reported a white man to the authorities?
Exato, é isso que eu ia dizer. Eu já denunciei vários homens brancos no Brasil, tipo, muitos. Eu sou, tipo, muito criticada por vários homens brancos. Eu, inclusive, denunciei uma peça de teatro feita por homens brancos que eu fui massacrada por um tempo por esses homens brancos. Então, eu tô muito acostumada a denunciar homens brancos. A gente faz isso quase toda semana, assim, então...
She denounced several white men in terms of sexism, racism. For example, there was a big theater play that they made blackface in this theater play, and she denounced it, and she with this denounce, she stopped the play.
Very nice, very nice.
People, Stephanie is such thing, important, giant, her. You all should know her. Like,
não, inclusive nessa época que eu denunciei esses homens brancos, eu até ganhei uma medalha por causa disso, porque foi algo muito importante. E eu denunciei os homens brancos.
I just wanted to quickly add that a lot of these passport bros are acting like children because they're getting in trouble for doing it, and they feel like it's not fair because white men are doing it, and it's like this thing where it's like, oh well, why do I have to do it, or why do I have to be held accountable for it if white men are doing it? And it's just like, it shouldn't be done at all. It shouldn't be done at all. Doesn't matter who's doing it, it shouldn't be done at all. And then it's disingenuous because, again, she's a Black woman in Brazil. She's in Black culture. And this went viral on Black Twitter. And then that's how it ended up being brought to her attention. So it started in the Black space. So it was brought to her attention as a Black biracial woman. So I don't get that. But I get it. I do feel like if we're going to have a conversation about it, though, we have to include all men, because the issue is not necessarily the race. It's not even really the gender. It's the behavior that's the issue. And if these men would have went over there and acted like they had some damn sense, we wouldn't even be having this discussion right now. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. Auston decided to make those videos. He decided to promote those videos on Twitter. He decided to promote in his Facebook group, private group, or whatever like that. He decided to do all of the promotion on TikTok and everything like that. White men are not really doing it like that. Not to the point where they're hyping it up and it's getting all of this attention. And one thing that Black people just don't seem to understand, we have influence. Our influence impacts other groups, other races within the US. So we are under a microscope. Every little thing that we do is being mimicked, is being copied. So of course, because you're under a microscope, every little thing that you do is being watched. White men, I mean, when it comes to white culture, it's like they copy what we do. I hate to say it, but they copy what we do. It is what it is. So people are always watching Black people. People watch Black people all day, every day. Every day. They watch us in sports. They watch us in entertainment. They watch us in art. They watch us on YouTube. Whether we get the true recognition that we deserve as Black people, we're still being watched. So if you are like, I understand why I'm being held accountable, not white men, it's because you're under a microscope. You're Black. So let's not sit here and be dense because, oh, I don't want to be held accountable for what I did. Listen, you got to know better. That's why it was ignorant of these group of men to go overseas and behave in this way and then have the audacity to broadcast it on the internet. Nobody told you to do that. Nobody told you to do that. You chose to do that knowing you're Black, knowing that you're under a microscope, knowing that certain rules apply to you that don't apply to people of the palm, okay? And you still decided to do it. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So I just don't like it when people are like, I don't understand why. What do you mean? You're Black. We're under a microscope.
Da minha faculdade, quando eu fiz arquitetura, que me tratavam de forma racista.
She denounced this theater play. She denounced, for example, the colleagues in the college when she took architecture because the way that they treated her.
Tem documentário na HBO.
Oh yeah, there's actually two documentaries talking about this, about how she is
in terms of sex tourism, have you sent any white men to the authorities?
Não, porque, inclusive, eu achei isso uma coisa que eu li um homem negro americano falando isso e é real. Eu nunca vi homens brancos, até então, pelo menos, tornando o turismo sexual deles algo público. Aparentemente, os homens negros tornam o turismo sexual deles público porque eles querem reafirmar a masculinidade e o poder deles. Então, eles agem até de uma forma extremamente surreal e burra.
No, in this thing, because the thing is, you in Brazil, she read a Black guy saying, "Oh, you denounce the Black guys, but you don't talk anything about the white guys." The thing is, you rarely will see a white guy bragging about sex tourism, because that's the thing, you know, the people commit crimes or things that should be illegal, hiding and not bragging themselves and not showing them like, oh, how great I am because I am with these girls, $10 or bring here.
So because of their videos, because they were so public about it, and because this video went viral. Okay, I'm going to put another image on the screen here. This is from Auston himself. He says, yes, get your passports, as in deal with women that understand men. So he's talking about getting your passports so that you can deal with women that understand men. Well, what is the problem with this sentiment besides just being sexist?
Dos seus pega esses passaportes e... Aquela menina do vídeo, né?
Acho que eu não sei.
É o vídeo que você mostrou. É isso, pergunta para você.
The last video or there's another one? Because we didn't see here.
This is a screenshot. It says from Auston where he's saying, get your passports. But you know what? So they're saying women understand men. I'll put up this right here on the screen. Why American men should date Brazilian women. That's a video. Are Brazilian women just easy? That's another video that he put up. Are Brazilian women just easy?
É tão surreal, porque no fundo, quando eles dizem que as mulheres brasileiras entendem os homens americanos, no fundo, muitas delas sequer conseguem se comunicar. É engraçado, eu vou dar esse exemplo. Acho que você tem que
deixa eu falar assim. It's something surreal, the idea that when they say that the Brazilian women understand better the American man, and like this.
É engraçado porque muitas não conseguem se comunicar, e um desses amigos do Auston fez um vídeo até ensinando como você pegar uma mulher usando o Google Tradutor. Ou seja, eles não querem se comunicar, e aí é o que a Helena disse, eles não querem se conectar com essas mulheres. Quando eles dizem que entendem, é exatamente porque elas não conseguem, às vezes, nem dizer para eles o que elas estão sentindo e como elas estão se sentindo.
It's weird because most of these girls, they cannot even speak English. So there's some videos that the guy are trying to teach her or even to talk with her from Google Translator, like, you know, say something and the machine says. And the idea that these women understand better, you know, without communication. So that's the thing, as Stephanie said.
Oh, you know what? That's a really good point. How can you say that a woman understands you better and you don't speak the language? What is it that she's understanding? But this is, so that's a good question. You know what, Helena, I want to talk to you about some of the psychology of it, but we have to check the Cash apps because there have been so many people who have been sending in questions. So there are 2,000 people on YouTube. There are 100 people on Facebook. Let me see how many on Twitch. There's 2 people on Twitch. We also have people watching from Twitter. So everybody's watching from all over the.
Do she look like an angry feminist to y'all? Shoot, she got her masculine man sitting up here in her femininity. She's empowered. She's taking a stand. I love the energy tonight. I just love the energy. I just love it. I love it.
Lobe. And so we're going to check the apples right now. If you hear that, oh, it's very low. Let me pull that up. There we go. Wow, you know what? The conversation was so good. It was so difficult to pull away. But we're going to read all of these apples now. So Tashia sends 1111, and she has sent that for me to go to Brazil. She wants me to go over there, right? Anasa sends $10 and says, thank you for your content. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let me get a little music on in the background for us right here. I appreciate you all. I couldn't get it. My body, it doesn't, I don't know. Maybe I'll learn one day. Maybe if I come over,
Yeah, let's get another try.
Well, you know what? Listen, I want to talk to you, all of you on the panel. The question is, and you know what? You all please submit questions to the guests through the Apple so that you can make sure that I see it. Do men love women? In general, do men love women? Why are you checking out of the conversation, Tulio? What is the matter? Come back in. Let us wrap our arms. Let's send some hugs to Tulio. Tulio, do men love women?
Wow, that's a huge and difficult question. Well, in terms of the hegemonic project, masculinity project, no, definitely not. Because there's...
Hold on. We just need that to simmer over us for a moment, because I did an entire broadcast where I came to this realization. So you heard him, he said no. And now he's going to elaborate. Helena, think of your answer, because I'm going to ask you next too. So talk to us.
Yeah, the thing is, the hegemonic masculinity project is based in 3 things. First of all, the idea that we have binary stuff, you know, we have men, women. It's always 2 poles, you know, like one another. So first thing, this. Second thing, these 2 sides, this binarium, they are hierarchical instituted. So you don't just have one and other, but one must be superior and another must be inferior to each other. And the third thing is this relation of hierarchical with power and oppression can be made by violence. So the superior can exercise violence through the inferior. So talk about this, I'm sure that most of your audience can think, oh, this is about racial stuff. No, this is about oppression in a colonial world. So this base of the project is connected.
So he's saying that he doesn't believe so simply because men feel like the only way they can love a woman is by being inferior to her. And when you love someone, you should have to be inferior to that person in order for you to actually love them. So he's saying when it comes to, I will just say toxic masculinity, no, there's no way that toxic a toxic masculine man can truly love a woman if he feels like he constantly always has to be in the inferior role or be an inferior model when it comes to his relationships. Okay, I'm trying to process that. Let me process that and then I'll get back. I'll come back. I gotta process that because I'm like, wow, I never thought about it like that.
Connected to the project, to the masculinities, but also is connected to the racial oppression, the racial issues, and also connected with the body stuff. For example, our relation with people that we say they are healthy against people with disabilities.
Right, but do men love women? You said no, because one is on top, one is on the bottom, and sometimes it's made that way via violence.
No. He said inferior, not superior, inferior, meaning fear is met, right? And remember when the psychologist said in the very beginning of this interview, she said fear. That was the first thing that she said. She was like, I really think this is about fear. So he's making that connection like, no, he doesn't feel like when it comes to toxic masculinity, it's about inferior. Like oh, you heard something different? Did he say inferior or superior? I thought he said inferior. That's what I thought he said. So and it's interesting because the psychologist brought that up originally. She said she thinks that this is more so about fear and being in control, but the way they get their control is by fear, which makes the connection to, let me bring it back full circle, where Cynthia G said they're like white supremacists. And if we know anything about white supremacists, the reason that they have control is because of fear. That's how the system is created, through fear. That in one must be superior and one inferior. Okay, let me go back. Ooh, hold on. Okay, we're 128, so I'm gonna go back to here.
Other must be inferior to each other. And the third thing is disconnect this relation of hierarchical with power oppression can be made by violence. So the superior idea that we have binary stuff, have men, women. It's always two poles, like one another. So first thing, this. Second thing, these two sides, this binarium, they are hierarchical instituted. So you don't just have one and other, but one must be superior and another must be inferior to each other. And the third thing is disconnect this relation of hierarchical with power oppression can be made by violence. So the superior can exercise violence through the inferior. So talk about this. I'm sure that most of your audience can think, oh, this is about racial stuff. No, this is about oppression in a colonial world. So this base of the project is connected to the project, to the masculinities, but also is connected to the racial oppression, the racial issues, and also connected with the body stuff. For example, our relation with people that we say they are healthy against.
But again, you guys, my point was that that's how white supremacy came about. It was about being superior and then inflicting being in fear of the superior person in charge, which is the white male. So yeah, but he's connecting that back to toxic masculinity, which again, if these men are, if they feel like their only way of being masculine is by looking to white supremacy, well, of course, that's their way of exercising or showcasing their masculinity, because that's where they got it from. So interesting connection. But you know what? Cynthia G made the same connection. She did. She made the same connection. And at the time, I'm like, what? I don't agree with that. But now it's like, oh, I do agree with this, because it actually makes sense. If they're constantly comparing themselves to white men, and white men are in this superior position due to white supremacy, and they're trying to be men and they want to be seen as masculine, based off of what they have been shown, they feel like that's the only way that they can be. And that's what he's saying. Interesting.
people with this
Right, but do men love women? You said no, because one is on top, one is on the bottom, and sometimes it's made that way via violence.
Exactly. So this relation is not about love. It's not about connection. It's about power. It's about you exercise power through the relations.
Well, you know what? I had so then Helena.
I love her. I'm talking about the.
Yes, we're talking about society-wide. Helena, as a psychologist and understanding the pathological thinking, neuroticism, narcissistic personality disorder, do men love women?
I would respond that with individually, there are men that love women, but these men are very emotionally mature. So yeah, they have this opportunity. But unfortunately, as Tulio was saying, our system, our culture, and many things else are not potentializing this capability of love. They are potentializing another thing, that is this power game. And maybe they are so interested about putting their efforts in maintaining this level of power that they don't even have the time. They don't learn about love. So
you know what, that's a great point. So then my question is, especially for you all who are scholars, Stephanie, who is a prominent feminist, and Tulio, who is a sociologist who is studying Black male masculinity at the PhD level, right? PhD candidate. If men loved women, what would be different? How would things be different? How would that show up? How would men show up in society?
That's a good question. I'd like to
Well,
say,
you know what? Jump in there while he's thinking. Go ahead. Jump. Let us know, Helena.
Yeah. First, they would listen. They would listen and know about us. I think that's the first point. I think if they love,
they do not want egalitarian, and the reason is because they feel like, and that's what's happening within society. I agree with you on that, because everything is becoming more equal, and they don't like that because they feel that they're losing their power, they're losing control, which is, again, I talked about it in my live last night with Destiny. Check out that live. That live is really good. But yeah, this is so spot on. And it's so interesting because the live I did last night is connecting to the conversation that we're having right now. So I 1,000% agree with that.
When a man really loves the woman, the person that she is, he wants to know her. He wants to know about all of her, not just about how she can serve him.
Eu acho que um fator de humanização. E a humanização, ela não é um produto de perfeição. Nós, mulheres, somos humanas, nós não somos um objeto, e nós não somos perfeitas. A gente erra, a gente acerta. O olhar humano sobre as mulheres, ele precisa ser construído para que haja amor em relação a nós.
Perfect. Wow. It's a matter of humanization. It's about to treat and consider women as human. And as humans, they are not perfect, you know? So to construct the connection with the human, it's to understand that they are not perfect, they are people, they do things, they want things. And the only way that love can be brought, can be built, is through the humanization of the women.
So I think I understand a little bit better. So part of the issue with the passport movement is that it's not looking at people as an individual, but looking at them as a monolith and inviting people over and then setting the expectation. But question about that, are there certain things across the board that are culturally present in certain regions? Is there something about Brazil and the culture in Brazil that creates a certain type of woman who behaves a certain type of way? Helena, I want you to answer that first.
Okay. Well, I think it's not about the Brazilian culture. It's about the interpretation of it from the perspective of the oppressor. Yeah, it's just that. It's not about. There is nothing in our culture or in our ways that says that we can be seen as products or objects. There is nothing wrong about our culture. Our culture is really beautiful. I am very proud of being a Brazilian, and listening to what Stephanie was saying about how feminism is growing in Brazil, and how even the most vulnerable woman, she is already instrumentalized to question some things. So I think there's nothing wrong I think that's the oppressor way of seeing us.
E é importante falar que essa visão que existe sobre nós também é fruto do racismo que nós sofremos por sermos um país de maioria negra, com uma história majoritariamente negra, com uma cultura extremamente ligada à cultura negra. Então, esse olhar de objetificação, de estereótipo e até de repulsa e ao mesmo tempo esse desejo, essa coisa toda insana que se cria, também está muito ligado às nossas origens negras.
Perfect.
Perfect. And this view.
Ele me ama.
Yeah.
There's a man who loves a woman. Do men love a woman? We know that Tulio does.
Yeah. This view is also connected with racism. The idea that we, Brazil, we are a country made by Black people or mixed with Black and a lot of Black culture, about a lot of African descended Black culture. And this is also something that is connected with racism, even though we are talking about Black men doing this, but we must remember, we are talking about North American Black men. So the relation between cultures, and this, Stephanie did say, I'm adding this. We are talking about imperialism. We are talking about the idea that people in some country can make relations, can bring the things, can do whatever they want, because they have this idea that the things over there is like this, even though if they were never there. So imperialism is the friend or brother of racism, with the cousin with the misogyny, and we are talking about this project of power that is colonial, which makes victims inside the United States. That's why we're talking a lot about racial problems in the United States.
Yeah, but I don't see how that relates to what we're talking about, sex tourism, passport boys. How does it relate?
Wow, that's all related, because the thing is, the way that these men, that is how can I say, the way that these men, that they cannot exercise the power as men inside the American society, they will try to exercise this power in other places. And they do this in places that they understand that is inferior, that is people that, doesn't respect.
So what he's saying is they're taking the colonial practices that they have been accustomed to, and they're taking it to Brazil, and they're practicing that colonial practice on the women that they're meeting there. That's why it connects. Wow, I never thought about it like that. I'm like, well, that makes sense. That's why this is all about power, dominance, control, which, again, if you watched the live yesterday, that's what we talked about.
No nosso contexto por conta de raça.
And the inferiority of our context is connected with race. So it's all connected. So these men from the place that they are already subject because they are Black in a racist society, but they want to be recognized as a man and people that deserve respect. So they follow a project that they think that is the better way to be recognized. So they do this in other places that they also think that is inferiorized. Countries like Brazil, Colombia.
So I have a question for you about them leaving women pregnant. Do Brazilian men leave women pregnant?
Sim, homens brasileiros também deixam mulheres.
Isso é muito importante a gente falar, Tônia, que a gente estava falando sobre as leis brasileiras. Sim, homens brasileiros também abandonam mulheres, mas a gente tem leis, que é tudo isso que eu fico toda hora repetindo. Tanto que a gente tem uma das leis mais significativas no sentido de violência doméstica, mas também de paternidade. A gente no Brasil define que se um homem tem um filho, ele tem que pagar uma pensão que corresponde a 30% do salário dele.
Yeah, this happens in Brazil, but that's the thing. She's pointing this all the time. We have laws about this. For example, if a man impregnates a woman and leaves her, she can go to the act, the law, and he is obligated to pay 30% of his wage to her, because there's a law, protecting this woman, saying that you cannot go around impregnating everyone,
Inclusive, no Brasil, essa lei é tão levada a sério que é um dos motivos que leva homens a serem presos.
Oh, yeah, you can get arrested about this.
So my question would be, why would a woman have unprotected intercourse with a man who's just visiting?
Por que elas não são?
Por que mulheres vão ter sexo desprotegido com pessoas que só estão visitando?
Porque tem
Tem a discussão da lábia, né?
Porque tem toda uma sedução também, né? Eu vi um print de um dos homens dizendo que na primeira vez foi com camisinha, na segunda ela já não usou. Então, eu acho que tem todo um... Não é simplesmente eu vou para aquele país e saio pegando mulheres. Eu também crio uma situação de construção afetiva em que essas mulheres acabam acreditando em tudo que esses homens dizem.
We are talking this, I'm not saying what she said, but I will say, but the thing is, we are talking about predatory behavior.
Yes.
And when we are talking about predatory, we are talking about people that can attract, deceive, use, abuse, and go. So this is important to understand, you know. I understand your question, but it's not the matter about the women, the fact that they are doing the unprotected sex. It's how the situation is built for this. And Stephanie was telling about this, for example. She heard about the girls that, oh, the first time it was with a condom, but after that he said that he loves, blah, 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 blah. So there's all...
They're being coerced. That's basically what he's saying in a way that's predatory. So that's how that's how these women are giving in to having unprotected sex with a man that's a visitor. So if you know anything about being preyed on, one thing that I know about being preyed on, because I'm a ex-SA victim or whatever like that, they put you in a place first they get you to trust them, and then once they get you in a space where you trust them, then they take advantage, and then that's when the games, that's when the manipulation and everything comes into play. So it's a matter of they butter you up and then they go in with the butter knife. You get what I'm saying? So like, listen, I get what he's saying. So that's how it's happening. In the right frame of mind, you're like, no, I would never do that. But once they get you to trust them and they make you comfortable, yeah, it's similar to grooming. It is. And then they go in, and that's when they start to manipulate you and they start to attack your mind. And one thing that we women tend to do with our mind is we fantasize who they were when they were buttering us up, and then like they do this code switch where they become a little more manipulative and controlling and all of the other stuff that comes in. So yeah, like that's how it happens.
All this predatory culture, the way, the behavior, the way that they build, that is connected with the sex tourism, and this is the thing that we should
talk about. Só para finalizar, eu acho que eles nem sabem que a gente tem uma lei que faz com que homens, inclusive homens famosos brasileiros, sejam presos porque não pagam pensão. É tão irresponsável que eles sempre acham que as nossas leis não os atingem, porque eles nos veem como um país de segunda classe.
Yeah. And we have the laws here, like men can be arrested here if they don't pay the pension.
Yes, the child support.
The child support.
So another one of my questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read what sex tourism is defined as. Sex tourism refers to the practice of traveling to foreign countries, often on a different continent, with the intention of engaging in sexual activity or relationships in exchange for money or lifestyle support. This practice predominantly operates in countries where sex work is legal, but there are countries where laws prohibit sex work. And so that's what it's defined as, traveling for the purpose of sex. Sex tourism is illegal or legal in Brazil?
Turismo sexual não é ilegal. Não é combatido. Mas ele é combatido pelas autoridades.
Yeah, it's not illegal, but it's there are several, as we said like some minutes ago. There's several law acts that try to avoid the sex tourism. Because that's the thing, you know, like it's really difficult. You get someone, you know, to get caught in you know, oh, you are doing sex tourism. No, I'm traveling, I'm exploring the places, I'm knowing new people. So there's a lot of other things that you do, other acts, other laws that you do to avoid the sex tourism. Because to talk about it, you know, it's...
Oh my goodness. I was not prepared for that. Oh my goodness, we have to, oh my goodness, I did not check to see. Oh my goodness, so we're gonna have to try that again. Oh my goodness. Wow, that just ended right in the middle of that. I was thinking.
To use condoms, to take care, to protect, etc. Because the campaign against STDs and also HIVs is huge since the 90s in Brazil. And this is something really important because this is connected also with the sex tourism. Most of the campaigns, they happens in periods that we have more people traveling to Brazil, especially Carnival, which is now in like 1 month. Because we know, the government know, the society know, the enterprises know that for decades, they built an image of Brazil, that Brazil is this land of samba, happiness, beach, but they built this idea for the white people in Europe, in the States, in other places. So you see the layers of what we are dealing from. It's not that passport bros invented sex tourism, etc. No, it's not about this. We are talking about layers of history of oppression, of the idea of this subjugation that we can go in Brazil and find the woman, the mulata, etc. It's also I was talking about the health stuff. So yeah, we discuss about this because we have programs that take care of this and avoid the split of HIV.
Inclusive, hoje saiu uma notícia no jornal daqui que o ministro dos Direitos Humanos já conversou com o presidente da Agência Nacional de Turismo para eles criarem uma campanha voltada para o carnaval, porque a gente sabe que o carnaval é uma época em que acontecem muitos casos de assédio. Então, a gente quer informar as pessoas o que é considerado assédio no Brasil. Acho que um dos pontos importantes, não sei traduzir essa parte, mas que eu falei, mas um dos pontos importantes que eu entendi é os homens de outras culturas que estão vindo para o Brasil, eles não têm noção do que são as leis brasileiras. E eles acham que as leis brasileiras não podem atingir eles, porque são leis de um país de segunda classe. Por isso você traduz.
Tá, perfeito. Ótima colocação. These men that are coming here, especially like passport bros, for sex, etc., they doesn't know the laws in Brazil. And they don't believe that here in Brazil, we have laws that protect the women, protect the society. And they think that even though if there's a law, they are, they can affect them. So this is an important thing, we have an expression here is like, aqui não é bagunça, here is not a mess. You cannot come here and do whatever you want, we are really serious about that. And that's why Stephanie is talking about this, because it's a serious issue. It's not something that, it happens, whatever.
E a gente tem muitas campanhas sobre assédio, por exemplo, no carnaval.
And we have a lot of campaigns, especially close to, near to the carnival, talking about the nossa, esqueci como fala assédio. Harassments, yes, thank you. Harassments that happens, especially in carnival moments.
What do you mean? What type of harassments are we talking about?
Because people are like, for example, like in New Orleans, Mardi Gras, like people on the streets having fun, music, dancing, etc.
Or Halloween.
Or even Halloween, I think Halloween maybe something the night Halloween. So yeah, people on streets dancing, So harassments are usually the guys, like grab the girls, trying to force the keys, trying to grab some parts.
Mas também é considerado assédio falas.
Things that you say to them.
E no Brasil, por exemplo, fala para a Tonya que todas as mensagens que esses homens estão me mandando são consideradas assédio virtual. A gente também tem uma lei para isso.
Oh, yeah. We have, I'm laughing because she's amazing. The thing is, also in Brazil, we have a virtual harassment. It's this when you harass someone speaking, and you can do this online, and this is crime in Brazil. So all you passport bros that are sending messages to her, you are committing illegal stuff here, because you can take all this, take to the prosecutor, and things can be done, because virtual harassment is also illegal, and we have laws for this.
Inclusive chamar mulheres de gostosa, isso é considerado assim.
Catcalls.
Fazer comentários sexuais.
Catcalling on the street is against the law, like, hey, mamita, you're so cute. That's illegal.
Yeah.
I saw a video. Well, I've seen videos of Carnival in Rio.
Why can't catcalling here be illegal? Gosh. Why can't it be illegal here? I don't understand why we have to deal with that. Street harassment. That's what I call it. Like, it's street harassment.
And from what it is that I saw, there were people in the parade having penetrative intercourse. This is what I saw. Oh, yes. I saw it in a video. They had on the wonderful outfits and people were dancing, and then they were there, and then you turn the camera and you look down and they're in there like, right in the middle of the street. I saw this. So you're saying you've been to Carnival, you've never seen this?
No, not this scene. No, Carnival is so much more than that. No, I never see. I love Carnival. I always have lots of fun in Carnival. The Carnival is arriving and I am excited about it, but I never saw a scene like that.
Acho que, Leda, a gente tem que contar que o carnaval no Brasil, ele tem muito a ver com a cultura negra, Tônia, porque o carnaval chegou aqui na elite em festas fechadas de clube. E então, os negros passaram a comemorar na rua. Então, esse carnaval de rua, que às vezes as pessoas associam coisas horríveis, ele é um carnaval muito marcado de novo pela questão racial. Eu acho que eu vi alguns homens dizendo coisas absurdas do tipo, vocês transam na rua no carnaval. E eles ignoram que essa cultura do carnaval de rua é uma cultura, pra gente no Brasil, muito ligada à questão de classe e de raça.
There's something important about this. This carnival is connected with the Black culture. So also we have this racial idea, racial perspective that the people, with the Blacks is all mess, is all, fun. You don't have any kind of responsibility, any kind of engagement. And this the thing that she said. But also I want to add one thing, which is important and makes connection with imperialism. Be careful with the images. Like, I love when Patricia Collins talk about images of control, because that's the thing, you know, the way that the videos, the pictures made in a carnival in Brazil travel around is connected with this image of control, this idea that, oh, it's all that you want, it's all that you need to see about this place. They don't show people working. They don't show how beautiful is the spectacle of the carnival, the people dancing, the costumes, the black people doing,
poor black people.
the poor black people working, doing things, creating. There's a lot of creativity in the carnival. It's
You know, this is why, like, I had to take a step back from watching TV, because it's programming, it's conditioning. So you guys remember us, you know, Americans, Black Americans, we used to watch BET back in the day, and there would be this charity that would come on and they would show Africa. And they would manipulate us into believing that Africa, the whole continent, was poor and it needed money, and that the children were starving there and things like that. Okay, well, basically what he's saying is, be careful about the images that you see promoted pertaining to Brazil, because it's not giving you a real full picture of what that's truly like. And it's so interesting how you know, the images that are promoted, how it actually tries to program your mind into believing like this is it, that's all that there is. But as you get older and you start to mature, you realize that there's so much that you really don't know about the culture, that you don't really know about the country. There's not that much that you really know. You only know what has been shown to you, but there's so much more out there to learn. And I think Americans need to start coming to that realization, because we tend to be programmed and controlled based off of the things that we see, and we tend to form a false narrative, and we tend to form a false reality about what it's truly like to live in these countries that they promote on our television. So it's just something to think about. But yeah, thanks to the internet is exposing the truth. Thanks to the internet, thanks to social media. Wow, Brown Barbie, wow. Yeah. And that's where the ignorance comes into play, y'all. That's where it comes into play, because ignorantly, I used to think it was like that. And now that I'm older, I'm like, it's not like that at all. It's not like that. They try to make it seem like Africa, the continent, did not have cars or anything. If you watch those old charity info commercials and things like that, like, they really had us believing that Africa didn't even have driving vehicles. Seriously, y'all. So be careful. And that's basically what he's saying. And this can go both ways. Like, hopefully, if you are from the country of Brazil, like, don't go off of the images that you see promoted of just Black people, because there's so much more to us than what you may see in the media, because that's done to us in reverse as well. That's why we shouldn't do it to each other. And I'm glad this is being brought up in conversation.
It's beautiful.
It's just beautiful. So the thing is, these images, like people having intercourse in the middle of the carnival, this is how the image controls works, you know? It's how it's everybody sees this, oh, carnival is this. So if I go to the carnival, maybe I can have the intercourse, or I have to take care because someone can, you know, get into me. So it's important to understand this, because these images about Brazil are made for.
Okay, so you know, I have not been. This is why I'm asking you, because I want to know whether or not these stereotypes are true. Because when we look at the HIV rate, right, there's a lot of unprotected intercourse. I was looking at the trends, and it is not going down. There's almost 1 million people living with HIV in a 220 million population, and it just continues to go up each year. So I'm wondering, what is true? Is there the conservatism, or is it just free intercourse everywhere? Because we're talking about prostitution and not advertising prostitution, but a prostitute is somebody who charges. If you're not even charging, that's not prostitution. That's something else. That is something else. Because charging is a profession. Not charging is something else. Go ahead, Helena.
I am thinking about what you are saying, and I am remembering that in the beginning, you were talking about, maybe we talk about narcissistic personalities. Well, we are not diagnosing anyone, But Stephanie talked about the predatory behavior, and it's like these guys, they think they can come here and have the predatory behavior that they can't have in.
I get her point of view. Okay, so Toya's point of view is she's trying to figure out if the culture over there is truly conservative. Okay, the reason why she's having a hard time understanding if it's conservative or not is because she's looking at the STD rates over there, and they're extremely high. You know, like they're pretty high. So for those rates to be so high, but Brazil is being promoted, you know, through this whole passport bros as if they are conservative, she's saying like something doesn't add up. That's what she's saying. That is what she's saying. So I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know, because it's like, how can in one section you could say, oh, we tend to be on the more conservative side, but then like your STD and STI rates are extremely high. So it makes sense. And you know, us Americans, we get a bad rep, y'all. We get a bad rep for our sexually transmitted rates. And so that's why she's asking, because she's trying to process that in her mind, you know? So I get where she's coming from.
Their country. And it is about them. I am concerned about the way I understand that we have this, like there is an image, as I can see, of Brazil being a place to have sex, or we are all around having lots and lots of sex. But I don't see how can it connect to the predatory behavior issue, because it's not because someone has their choice or sexual freedom that it is giving permission to people from other countries come here with this predatory behavior. Maybe we have more sex. I don't know. I don't have the numbers. But even if we had, I don't think it's has nothing to do with this predatory behavior.
Exactly.
So, and I think it's still about the stereotype that you were talking about, Tonya.
E eu acho que, na verdade, é muito o contrário, porque, na verdade, como a gente tem uma cultura em que até o governo distribui condoms, a gente, inclusive, tem talvez as melhores camisinhas do mundo, porque é um hábito muito comum no Brasil você ter camisinhas. Eu lembro da minha mãe mesmo.
Mas acho que eles não vão conseguir entender isso.
Mas acho que é coisa do público, como o governo, ele tem um cuidado público, porque a gente entende que é uma questão de saúde pública, e como talvez eles tragam uma cultura que quebre um pouco isso, talvez.
Mas eu acho que aí tem uma barreira. We are discussing something important, sorry, but I would say, Stephanie said something important, like here we have the government, you know, like discussing about this, giving condom to the people in terms of, you know, protect yourselves campaigns. This doesn't do or make that everybody is protecting themselves. But the thing is, your question, I think it's not or, you know, that's Brazil. Brazil has a conservative, there's a huge conservative people. Brazil also has parties. Brazil also has people who have sexy or protected or not. You know, Brazil is a really multicultural, remixed, complex country with 200,000 people and the size of a continent. Like it fits like 15, 20 countries from the Europe inside our territory. So Brazil is really complex, you know, so it's not or and or, but I get like.
Well, okay, so this is what I'm getting. This is what I'm getting from his response. So basically, I'm getting that he's saying that yes, we're conservative on the outside. You know, us Americans, we tend to be loud. We let it all hang out, but they're not the type to let it all hang out in the open like that. So what they do is, you know, they are more like, we're going to do it behind closed doors. We're still doing it. We're still doing it like the Americans, but we're going to be a little more reserved about it. We're not going to be all out in the open with it. Americans, we are more all out in the open with it. We'll let it all hang out. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from his response. And that would make sense according to the numbers that she was looking at, because she's like, wait a minute, 1 minute you're saying conservativeness, But I think it's more so about image. Like they pride themselves on being seen as conservative, but they may be doing the you know, behind the scenes. That's what I'm getting. So I think that's what they're trying to say.
Like we have this too. We have these things, and Elena said this. We are all we already have our problems on this.
Mas eu acho que tem um ponto que a Helena falou, que esses homens eles são predadores, e eles também conseguem identificar a fragilidade de mulheres. Eu acho que a gente também tem que entender que o homem predador, ele também não ataca qualquer tipo de mulher. Então, e aí quando eu estou dizendo, tipo, eu não estou dizendo que essas mulheres são fáceis, mas talvez essas mulheres sejam vulneráveis, não só socialmente, mas também psicologicamente.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
Can you translate?
No, please translate her, then I comment.
Oh, I thought that you would say, but the thing, Stephanie said that we are talking about predatory behavior, and in terms of predatory behavior, there's men that can understand fragility, or at least the idea that someone is more fragile, you know, vulnerable, I think is a better word, vulnerable. So not socially vulnerable, but also psychologically and emotional vulnerable. They can connect with this, they can understand and do this. And it's, for me, it's so clear.
Yeah, I am thinking about what Stephanie is saying, and maybe Antonia was commenting about our rates of HIV contamination, and then we talk about some people having unprotected sex, and we are also talking about women that are more vulnerable to these predators. Well, there's a link for that, and that's lack of sexual education. We have to have more. If we have high levels of SATs or DSTs, and we also have women that are more vulnerable to this kind of behavior.
So also, okay, so she's saying that if the numbers are high, it's because women are more vulnerable in this in this developing country. Okay, so that's why the numbers may be reflecting that, but culturally, they're still more on the conservative side. That's what I'm getting. So that's what she's saying. Based off of her point of view, that's what she's saying is that, okay, women are more vulnerable. That's why our numbers are high, and the predatory behavior is high here. And that's why. That's what I'm getting from what she's saying. And that's why, like, this whole promotion of sex tourism and everything like that is making the culture change there. And they don't want that. They want to keep the conservativeness. I believe that's what she's saying.
Yeah. That they are wrong, not them, not the women. That if they are having sex or not, I don't think that's the question. I think that the problem is that they are more vulnerable, as the same way as maybe they are more vulnerable to DSTs because of the fact that we are a developing country.
And okay, so just to clarify, DSTs are the sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's the same thing. I think if we have this, and we have also women that are being caught in this predatory behavior, it's because, I think we have a problem, and it's a lack of sexual education. Because maybe when we have more sexual education, we will reduce the levels of DST contaminations as well. Women will be more instrumentalized, more they will be more protected against these predators.
Yeah. Okay, so my question is, what is it that makes Brazilian women so vulnerable?
Wow.
We are not in a sexist country.
E porque a gente também é um país de muitas mulheres negras, e as mulheres negras no Brasil, elas são preteridas, e elas são violadas pelo Estado e pela sociedade de diferentes formas. Então, essa vulnerabilidade que algumas meninas têm emocional também é fruto do racismo institucional.
Most of the vulnerability of the women in Brazil is connected with racial stuff. Well, that's the thing important. The biggest population in Brazil is Black. The biggest population inside the Black community is women. So the women, which is almost like 1/4 of the population, 25% of the population, are in this worst situation of vulnerability, which is social vulnerability, economical vulnerability, and other things, health, take care, etc. So that's why. But also this question, Brazil is a country that is inside the peripheral capitalism. We are global south. We are inside something bigger, and which is the global constitution of the relation of the country. So the vulnerability is not just about the Black woman in Brazil, but it's a vulnerability as a country, as some problems and challenges that we have, And the idea of these men that they can come here to get the girls is the idea that perpetuates this place, perpetuates the idea, the stereotypical idea that Brazil is a place inferior, that you can go grab your girls over there, mess up, have fun, and travel to another place that you can, So this line of how the things are connected, that we are, at least me, try to put here, The vulnerability has connection with historical problems that we have in Brazil.
So are you saying that the darker skinned women are more vulnerable in Brazil? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. But even though even how we do the racial discussion in Brazil.
Now, wait a minute. Spiritually, I feel like my platform has been blessed since this new year has started. Remember when I told y'all that colorism could not be reversed? And I had people in my comment section telling me that, it can be. How, when colorism is global? It is not shocking to my ears to hear women of a darker hue having trouble in Brazil. It's not shocking, y'all, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where, if you are a darker hue, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, it doesn't matter where you go. You cannot escape colorism because it's a global issue. I told y'all that. And y'all, of course, I got gaslit. And then because I was gaslit, I'm like, oh, so this is what brown-skinned women, dark-skinned women, this is what they be talking about. That's why I don't want to have the conversation with some of y'all. They don't want to have the conversation with some of y'all. They want to have the conversation with me, but they don't want to have it with some of y'all because y'all just don't get it. Y'all will gaslight them and say, I have similar issues. There are systems in place globally that it doesn't matter. Like, they are always going to get the shortest end of the stick. So if you are lighter than them, you may get a pass in a different room, but it doesn't matter what room they step in. It's the same energy for them. There's no real switch up. It's very rare because, like I said, when it comes to colorism, it's about a system being in place, and it's global. It's global. And this is why, you'll see in other ethnicities, like say Mexicans, for example, they have a hard time accepting Mexicans that are of a darker hue as well. Like, that's why, y'all. So just keep that in mind. And please stop gaslighting dark-skinned women or brown-skinned women. Just listen. Let them open up and express to you what they have gone through, their experiences. And it's not to invalidate what you have gone through, because you are a Black woman. That is a fact. But don't dismiss that they have it the hardest, because it's just true. It's like there's no escaping it. There's no escaping it. So just listen. Just listen. That's what I do. I listen. I listen to understand. Not always to relate, not always to respond. I just simply listen to understand. And that, when you do that, you just have a different perspective.
Also, something, for example, we are talking more about the colorism for like 10, 20 years from now, because when we say Black in Brazil, in Portuguese we say negro, we are talking about the Black, the people that are dark skin, but also we are talking about the people that have medium or kind of light skin, which is mestizos, but we call pardos. Because the idea of the miscegenation through the colonial story, we have a huge Black population that is not just dark-skinned people. We take the parts, for example, we are almost 60% of the population in Brazil, the Blacks. But if you take just the dark-skinned people, the pretos, it's like 8, almost 10%.
Okay.
I can't the number. So the thing is, even the racial stuff in Brazil is more, it's complicated, is more I'm losing the words, but it's more complicated. That's the question. It's
More
confusing.
complex.
Complex. Yeah, more complex.
Okay, so are you saying that the people who are also mixed are also vulnerable? So you're saying that there's a hierarchy. There's white
Yes.
Brazilians, there's mixed Brazilians, there's black Brazilians, and then there's the petos, who are the darkest, who are only a small percentage. Because when
Yeah.
these men are coming over, they're coming and they're looking for mixed women or lighter complected women, but you're saying that these women are also vulnerable in Brazil.
Yes, because that's the question. That's the question. But there's the thing about the place, the position that Brazil is in this relation between countries, So there's this idea that they can hear, and that's the thing that Stephanie was saying, talking about, the objectification of the women. Because you go to the supermarket Brazil and you can grab any type of women that you want. You have the white milk, you have the chocolate one, you have the mixed cappuccino, blah, 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 blah. And the racial stuff in Brazil is huge in this, because we are rarely.
It is very, it's so weird, y'all.
As a country that is
it's weird.
All mixed. So even the idea of racial, that they can come here and, choose any type of color, skin, hair, and whatever, this makes part of this
Objectification. Yeah. Okay, that's really good information. But just to educate people, what is it that makes the women vulnerable? What makes them more vulnerable? What is it what's happening in Brazil that has the women so vulnerable? What's going on?
Cultural colonialism, capitalism. I would take like 3 hours to explain why.
So you're saying that there are people who are at economic disadvantages in Brazil?
Also, but racially true and culturally true.
Mas ao mesmo tempo,
inequality here is
a gente também tem uma cultura em que as mulheres são muito donas de casa também, né? As mulheres, elas detêm muito o controle financeiro. Então, existe, acho que talvez uma vulnerabilidade emocional construída dentro dessas opressões.
Uau, esse é ótimo ponto, né? Respirar, porque isso é complexo. We also have a culture of, we could say housewives, but it's not really like this. The families that women takes care of the money, takes care of the almost matriarchal, kind of matriarchal, but the importance of these women in those families. And in Brazil, we have a large number of families that has women as the owner, the chief of the family, and most of these women are blacks, So even though we have vulnerability, social vulnerability, economic vulnerability, we also have another cultural stuff, cultural connection that these women, especially black women in peripheries, neighborhood, poor neighborhoods in the countryside, that they are powerful too,
Okay.
For example, in religions from Africa, African, Brazilian, candomblé, for example, most of the terreiros, which is the places that take care of the candomblés and Umbanda, most of the terreiros are owned by a woman, black woman, So we have these women also, even though they are vulnerable, they are in these spaces, these spaces of power too. So it's more complex.
Is it shocking to learn? Is it shocking? Is it shocking to learn that in Brazil, black women are vulnerable? They are the most vulnerable, right? But they're also leading. Yeah, and the reason why I feel like it can be both is because there's so many black women here that are vulnerable, but we're leading. There was an article that was just released about how black women, how we deal with depression so much differently than other people. It's not shocking at all. It's not shocking at all. It's duality. It's having that mentality that you just need to work through it, suck it up, push through, get over it. Or I don't have time to deal with, my emotions right now. I need to go to work. We're in survival mode. So we're more in our masculine energy. It's not shocking to me, y'all. It's not. And it's so sad. It's so sad. So I guess we can rewrite the saying that black women are not just the most unprotected in America. It's sounding like it's the world at this point. And I'm glad that we can have these conversations because it reveals so much truth in depth of how deep the trauma is for us. It's very deep and it's global. So for him to say that, it's like, wow, like that's so sad, you know, it's sad. But they're vulnerable as well. But they're leading. Go figure.
E acho
Well,
que
it
tem um outro
sounds
ponto
very
que é muito
complex.
Mas tem um ponto que é muito importante. A gente também tem muitas mulheres brasileiras que também desejam se relacionar não com homens americanos, mas com homens negros. E esse é um ponto importante do porquê talvez eles também consigam tanta abertura com moças em vídeos e tal. Isso é importante. Mas eu sei que você tem que falar, porque eu sei.
Yeah. This is another huge question, which is, especially in terms of Black women in Brazil. They want to interact, to have a connection, relationships with Black men.
E não americanos, né?
Not Americans, but Black men, like the idea of the Black men. So when these Black men comes, you know, they also, some of them believe that, you know, there's a possibility to make a connection, to have a relationship. But this is a topic really complex also too, because we must talk about the situation of affection of the Black woman in Brazil. We have several concepts of this. The loneliness of the Black woman.
Black women are lonely in Brazil?
Yeah, this is another, yeah.
Wait, why are they lonely? Lonely for Black men?
Yes.
Yeah, Black men, the society, like the idea of the loneliness of the Black woman is basically the idea that in a society that is racist and misogynist, the last person that deserves love, that deserves to be taken care, that must be treated as a woman, a human, you know, like respect, dignity, it's of the Black woman. So the Black woman usually is the person that doesn't have the ties, the connections, the social, you know, like friends, people surrounding her.
Why wouldn't and okay, so why?
This is a construction from the colonialism and the slavery.
So okay, so what are you considering Black? So you're saying that the Black women are lonely. So Stephanie is considered a Black woman in Brazil?
Yeah.
So you would be considered mixed here, right? But in Brazil, you're considered Black.
Yes.
And so you're saying women like you would be lonely.
But inside this question, you have the discussion about colorism. So who is more lonely? The darker skin woman, the poor
dark
woman, the fatter woman, woman from the uneducated or even educated. But the thing is, like, even inside this territory, we have like multiple layers of oppression. You know?
Y'all, this is so heartbreaking. I'm trying to get through this and not get emotional, but it's so heartbreaking because it's like, wow, there's no escaping this. This is a global thing. Global. And it's so crazy because we listen to these men every day on here say that it's us, it's the American Black woman. You're too feminine. You're this. But in Brazil, Black women are facing the same circumstances due to colorism, texturism. So we know what it really is. Please heal, you guys. Please heal. Because this whole time you've been blamed. This whole time you have been made out to be the problem. But it wouldn't change for you. Even if you were more feminine and you lived in Brazil, due to your hue, it doesn't matter. Disgusting. Disgusting, y'all. It's disgusting. So we know what we're dealing with. Hatred. Hatred. It's really sad. Like, it's really, really sad. And I'm so glad that this was able to happen because oftentimes we tend to feel isolated. Like, it must be me. It must be something I'm not doing, you know? But that's part of the manipulation. That's what gaslighting is to distort the truth and have you believe in something, in a falsehood, because the truth would make the opposing person that's gaslighting you in the wrong.
So, okay, so I want you to look at the screen right here. So this is a woman that is on the screen, and she had gotten with one of the passport bros by the name of Floyd, right? What would she be considered? Would she be considered Black? We see that she's a little bit heavier. So are you saying that she's more vulnerable because we see that she's a little curvier? So are you saying that she's more vulnerable because she's curvier? Is she vulnerable because her skin has a little bit of brownness in it? Help educate us on that.
I think it's difficult to say just about picture because you really want to understand like in which situation this person is, you know. I don't know, for example, I don't know. I'll give a quick example. For example, he was in Salvador.
Yeah.
Salvador, this girl, for example, parda, né?
Em Brasil é
Yeah,
mestiça.
in Brazil, she's a mestiça, but she's a mestiça
Na nossa lógica.
in our racial logic, but you can see how she tries to cover up her Blackness. You know, it's really complicated. But the thing
Really?
is, sorry?
Really? Okay, so
Yeah.
So you're saying just a little bit of Blackness inside of you lowers your worth, makes you more vulnerable. So even a girl like her, who would be considered a preference among Black men here, she would be already somebody who is vulnerable in Brazil. And then so she would be an easy mark for these Black men. But why would a woman in a colorist society want a Black man? Wouldn't they want a mestiço man as well?
Yeah, por que as mulheres querem homens negros numa sociedade colorista? É que o colorismo também tem a ver com gênero, né?
Eu acho que tem talvez um desejo de compreensão. Uma ideia de que um homem negro, eu me identificando como uma mulher negra, vivendo numa sociedade racista, que um homem negro vai me compreender mais e me respeitar mais. Porque também a gente vive num país que os homens brancos são extremamente violentos. Então, acho que são várias camadas.
She said that she believes that it's probably because for Black women, the idea that the Black man can understand her better, can connect better, you know, with the suffering, the experience of life. And in a country like our country of Brazil, that we have a lot of white men, really violent, really racist, that, you know, can't see the humanity of the Black people. She believes that probably is because of this.
E tem outro ponto. Eu sou vista como uma mulher negra, mas eu sou colocada no lugar da mulher negra dentro do Brasil, sensual, sexy, festiva, que é essa figura lasciva. Uma mulher negra talvez fosse mais escura do que eu, não seria colocada nesse mesmo lugar. O que não significa que eu estou num lugar melhor, mas significa que a gente nós somos vistas de forma diferente, conforme a nossa tonalidade de pele, e se tem um imaginário da mulher negra mestiça como sexual e da mulher negra mais escura como forte, trabalhadora.
She said, well, for example, she's seen as a Black woman, but because of her traces, her phenotype, she's seen as a sensual woman, a woman to more sensual through sexuality. But in Brazil, we are talking about Brazil. Yeah, the only thing, we are Brazilians, we are talking about Brazil. Other place, not the place. So, but another woman, darker, you know, darker skin, is not seen as a sensual. Is seen more a woman to work, someone that will serve you, stronger, that can take whatever, you know, whatever you give to her, she will do, she will make it. And this is a slavery heritage. I know that everybody's tired, you know.
Yeah.
I was saying, but it is important to understand how the slavery, how the colonial made our culture, and we still have some continuities that makes our minds, makes our points of view to understand the thing, look at.
So you're saying because your nose is slimmer, right, and your skin is lighter, so you're saying the phenotype, right, that you were considered more sexy rather than a person who has a wider nose who is more negroid. Oh, wow.
É a cultura do que a gente chama aqui no Brasil, que eu acho que é importante dizer, da exótica. E essa cultura, e a mulher que muitas vezes é vendida como para o turismo sexual, é exatamente o meu estereótipo.
Isso é importante pra caralho.
Translate.
Yeah, she's saying something really important. The thing is, a woman that looks like Stephanie is seen as exotic. You know, that's the exotic beauty, etc. And this kind of woman, the tone of the skin, the phenotype, etc., is the image that they sell to the tourism to the sex tourism, to the carnival, to the idea that if you go to Brazil, you will find girls like her. You'll find girls like the girls that they show in the videos, you know. So it's also a reproduction of image, as Stephanie has been saying all night. Is connected with sexism, and it's pretty connected with racism. And why?
Wow.
This is why she, as a feminist, a Black feminist, stand against it and talk about it and denounce whoever she needs to do.
E aí, eu
Ooh,
acho que...
wait. This is just so good. Helena, you would be considered a white Brazilian?
Oh my God, that's a very difficult question, but yeah. I have a friend that said to me that no, you are parda, né? Is it mestiça? Mestiça. Parda, you are parda. But well, what I have to say about it is from my experience. I don't think I suffer what a Black woman suffer because of racism in Brazil. So I can't claim this.
You guys, this is why I'm always promoting the book, The Bible is Black History, because the Bible was whitewashed, history books were whitewashed. The reason why there's so much confusion is because they both share the same ethnicity, but because race is man-made, right? She won't have the same experience as Stephanie because Stephanie is considered to be biracial. She's considered to be white. And then, of course, of a darker hue, an actual Black woman that is also Brazilian ethnicity. They basically come from the same culture. They even speak the same language. They probably even have the same cultural practices, but because race is man-made and everything has been whitewashed, right? They relate, but they don't relate. So they may have some experiences, but not all of their experiences will be the same. It's going to be divided up based off of color, what you can pass as within society. That's why there's so much confusion. You'll see this in just about any ethnicity. I've even seen it among Asians. I've seen it among Asians. Black Asians typically live in like Taiwan. I forget the other one. I forget the other country, but that's why it's so much confusion. Like if you read the book, I'm always advertising it because it really broke it down as to how this all became about and why it's so confusing. Why we never learned about it in our history books. It's because everything has been completely whitewashed. And the Philippines, everything has been completely whitewashed. And so that's why there's so much confusion. Okay. So just look into I would say look into your history, but I wouldn't go to American history books because they whitewashed everything. You're either going to have to talk to people face to face and like get information on their history and everything face to face, or you'll never see them because again, he said that they don't promote that. Like they don't promote those images. It's really sad. I'll have to post it. I'll post the video that I'm referring to. Y'all, there are Black people. Black people were all over the world, y'all. They were all over the world. It's just the images for these countries were whitewashed. I'm just the messenger, y'all. I'm just the messenger. And I know it sounds confusing, but everyone thinks Black people just come from the continent of Africa. Black people were everywhere, y'all. We were everywhere. Okay. But you gotta look beyond the programming that you have been conditioned based off of, you have been taught based off of whitewashing. There's a documentary that I have that I promote all the time if you're interested. That's right here on YouTube. But if you're interested, you guys, you should check it out because then you'll understand why there's so much confusion with her saying that. But Black people were all over. We didn't just come from the continent of Africa. It's a lie. And the truth is starting to come out the more we have these conversations.
This
My
place for me.
goodness.
So in Brazil, I am considered white. Outside Brazil, no. But in Brazil, most of the time, maybe, I am considered white.
Interesting. And you, Tulio?
Black? Yeah. Yeah. Black.
Okay. did you date women who were darker complected, or did you date women that were mestizo, like Stephanie?
No, actually, I dated also white women. Yeah.
Hold on. I asked whether you dated black.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, darker, the same
Okay.
tone. Date is a complex.
Porque acho que a gente tem que explicar para a Tônia que no Brasil a gente também tem a cultura do ficar.
Eles também têm.
Yes.
Que talvez explique, inclusive.
We're running out of time again. I don't want to do another. This is so good. I learned so much. This conversation can go on. Translate real quick, and then you all have to tell how people can find you.
We have the culture of two dates, but small dates, like hookup, like you meet someone one night. It's not one night stand, but like. So this is important to the interactions also,
Wait a minute. So you're talking about hookups or dating seriously? Did you date black women seriously, Tulio, or were you just hooking up?
No.
Okay.
Se eu já namorei outras mulheres.
Mas é que eu sou tipo.
I am 8 years with her, It's a long time. We have a long relationship. We are married, so, And before this,
I'm talking about before. I'm trying to find out whether or not dark-skinned men are dating dark-skinned women in Brazil.
Isso existe?
Yeah, existe. Homens negros namoram mulheres diferentes.
Oh my Lord, the thing is going to end again. Listen. It's going to end, but I want you all to tell about your projects, right? So we're going to come back in just for a quick moment, and you all will tell something about the look on your face, and Stephanie looking at you is telling a story that words are not saying right now. Look at that. Listen. I wonder. Listen, you know what? So you all know that
Okay, you guys, I found the documentary. Now listen. When there's truth in stuff, it tends to be shadow banned here on YouTube, but the documentary is actually on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat. Okay. So you guys can have it. But it's shadow banned. So you can type it in and it will not pop up. Okay. I had my awakening in 2020 during the pandemic. And my mind is completely blown by this discovery because it actually makes sense. And I lost faith in the educational system because all of it is programming, it's conditioning. That's all that it is. But I'll put it in the chat. I just shared it, you guys. Check the chat box. Okay, I'll keep sharing it. Make sure you save it. Okay. All right. Yes, it's pretty long, but it's worth the watch. Okay. You may have to break it down into parts, but it's really, really, truly educational, and it's truly worth the watch. It is why Kyrie was getting so much heat, Yes, you'll get a warning and everything when you click this link because the information in it is very controversial, and you would have to make your own interpretation of what you think, because at the end of the day, you can't just take everything in and just think that it's the truth. You actually have to form your own opinion, come up with your own perspective on the information. But when you start to look at the world, even this conversation tonight, and then you watch that documentary, you're like, wow. That is exactly how you're going to react. It's like, wow, that makes so much sense. So definitely check it out. Highly recommend that you check out that documentary. It's called Whiteout, and they have multiple parts, but honestly, if you just watch the first one, and then if you want to watch the rest, of course you can do that. They do take the Black Israelite approach, but if you could look past the religious approach and just zone in on the history lesson, because technically history and religion, they kind of go hand in hand. Okay, you can't really have religion without history. You can't have history without religion. It's just, it is what it is. Check it out. Okay. I think that's pretty much all that they talked about within this interview. Let me double check.
Ask questions that people have stated in comments. So I see some of you were saying some very terrible things about me. But listen, you know, I'm going to get to the heart of the matter. I think it is just it's nuanced per country. But people want to know, Tulio, did you date dark skin, like date seriously, like give your love to dark skinned women in Brazil before you got married? Did you give your love, or was it just kind of like, oh, you know, I'm passing through?
Eu acho que a gente deveria explicar que, na verdade, no Brasil, a gente praticamente é exceção, né? Porque nós somos negros de classe média se relacionando entre nós. Porque lá para eles é muito comum, mas aqui pra gente a ascensão social tá associada a se relacionar com pessoas brancas. Então acho que você devia explicar isso para ela.
She's saying that it's an important thing that we as a couple is more an exception in Brazil in terms as we are, because the social uplifting in Brazil for Blacks usually is connected with to get married, to relate, to dates, to relate with a white person. So it's more difficult, not rare, but more difficult when Black people that social upper class as us are married, are a couple, you know, because usually you see this like a well-succeeded man, Black man with a white girl, a well-succeeded Black woman with a white man. So this is something in the how could I say, the love economics in Brazil, in the rate of love economics in Brazil, that is really important to discuss.
So you're saying that Black people and even brown skinned people is rare in Brazil. When you're upper socioeconomic, it'll be a Black person with a white person in Brazil. And that the white person is raising the status of the Black person. But then wouldn't the white person's status be lowered by being with the Black person?
Sorry?
Wouldn't that white person's status lower down by being with a Black person?
A ideia de que assim, bom, se para a pessoa negra é bom estar com uma pessoa branca, mas se para a pessoa branca não é lower status, aí a gente tem que explicar a cultura da miscigenação.
Eu acho que a gente pode explicar aqui.
You guys, I'm trying to figure out if he was uncomfortable answering or responding to that question directly because, you know, that's his wife and he doesn't want to get into, you know, or if it's because he just never dated a Black woman. I don't know. I was trying to figure that out too. I'm like, you know,
E dentro da nossa, acho que resumidamente, dentro da nossa cultura, resumidamente, as pessoas brancas, elas vendem a ideia de que ao se relacionar com negros, elas não são racistas.
Translate.
Yeah, in the Brazil culture, the idea that white people dating Black people, they show to society that they are not racist. And this is important about Brazil, because in Brazil, we are a racist country that doesn't want to talk about racism. In Brazil, you are afraid or you are ashamed to show that you are racist. So we avoid the racial conflict, but we have racism organized.
Are the Black people who date the white people, are they treated well, or do the white people abuse the Black people that they date or marry?
Well, we have. This is difficult to say for sure, but we have a lot of stories of people get treated very bad, especially for the family. And also have stories of people saying that it's all okay.
E só para finalizar, para ela entender, é muito mais comum entre as pessoas pobres aí você ter os casais negros.
Yeah, and it's more common into the poor people, the lower class people. You have the Black families, the Black couples.
Por isso que mulheres negras de classe média muitas vezes almejam homem negro. Por isso que homens negros americanos ou até mesmo africanos fazem tanto sucesso aqui.
That's why Black girls from the upper class, medium class,
e que estudaram na universidade,
that study, high educated, they desire or want a Black man, and that's why Black men, American Black men, or even African Black men make so much success with these girls, because it's the idea that they can connect with a Black man, you know, a Black man that is in the same
you guys, the audio is sped up.
Social condition.
Oh, wow. So part of the vulnerability then is in the lack of access of middle-class Black people to be able to get with other middle-class Black women in Brazil, even middle-class mixed women, to be able to get with a Black man. It's very rare. And so when these men come from other countries, they're seen as a novelty. They're seen as something special. They're seen as, oh, maybe I'll get the chance to be with a Black man. Maybe he will marry me and take me back to the States. Maybe I'll be able to have that Black family because it's so rare.
Yeah, but this is a part, I don't totally believe this is something important that Stephanie brought. But in terms of passport bros, I don't believe that that's the case, because most of the girls that we are seeing these videos in the things, they are not these girls that we were talking about, the upper class Black woman, dark skin, etc.
Okay.
It's the discussion is nice. We are, bringing the whole panel. But when you talk about passport bros, we are talking more about these lower, vulnerable girls, poor girls, can be Black, but also makes it that they, they as predators.
E no caso dos vídeos do Auston, às vezes ele, como ele chegava em qualquer mulher, fazia uma pergunta e ia embora, são mulheres que às vezes estudaram e tal, mas a abordagem que elas tinham, a abertura que elas davam para ele tem mais a ver com o fato de a gente ter essa cultura da abertura, da educação, do que necessariamente um interesse afetivo delas com ele.
Oh yeah, this is important. Sometimes even the video, like the way that he approached them, sometimes they are just answering, someone arrives with you, on you, and asks something about the beach, the city, and they were being nice. Yeah, like being polite, and the way that they use this, the image, the title, the way that he was commenting or letting the people comment, because this is also something interesting. I'm a sociologist, so everything's interesting for me. But sometimes he doesn't need to say anything. He puts the image and the people, the crowd, they comment. So if he doesn't say something, he is allowing them to say, so he doesn't even need to say something, because all these guys, all the crowd of this crazy predators, they are already saying for him,
What do you mean saying? Saying what? They're saying,
like, these girls, they are for sale. These girls are whores. These girls.
Oh, so you're saying the girls don't even speak. They just show them. And then the guys are saying that, like, kind of like a grocery list, like showing. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he's not saying to them, don't say this. That's wrong. You should not.
Got you. So you're saying, so just last up to say, and then I'm going to let you all just give your closings, right? You're saying that they're not getting with the middle class women. They're not getting with the upper class women, that they're getting with women who are poor, vulnerable, desperate in more than one way. Desperate for a Black man, desperate for maybe a nice date out with an American, just desperate for, I don't know what else.
Yeah, that's why I would not like to mix, because I think it's different conversations. In terms of passport bros, we are talking about the vulnerability and the condition of these women. The conversation about Black men, the desire for Black men, the difficulty for the upper class Black couples, etc., and such, I think that we should not put in the same bowl, because can mix, and I think that make more confused and even wrong in terms of to be a little bit more specific. So the thing is, which brings, for as much as I know, as much as Stephanie told me about, as much as I have saw the videos, and the question is the vulnerability, how this woman is in this place, and social, economical, and because of this also, as Stephanie spoke, emotional vulnerability that makes them kind of more vulnerable for this predatory behavior that these men come here to do.
Eu tenho tanto exemplo que é o que eu estava lendo agora. Um homem negro americano me mandou mensagem dizendo que ele sabe que eu sou patrocinada por um daddy branco. Porque, na visão desses homens, é impossível você chegar no Brasil e ter uma mulher negra arquiteta que vive bem, que mora bem e que ainda tem um relacionamento com uma pessoa negra. Eles têm já uma visão estereotipada do que eles vão encontrar aqui.
She's giving an example. She received a message for a Black guy calling her that she's sponsored by a white sugar daddy, because in his mind, it's impossible to come to Brazil to find a Black girl, an upper class Black girl, architect, high educated, that lives well, that has a good life, that is married with a Black guy, which is doing well, enterprise, etc. This is impossible. So they make all these projections, all these fantasies that, well, if this Black woman is behaving like this, probably she is sponsored by a white.
Okay. Well, you know what? I wanted to talk about that, but we have run out of time.
But his wife is mixed though. I'm just stating the obvious, you know. Just stating what we all see here. I know we seeing, you know. So he keep referring to her in that way, and you know, I don't know, y'all. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
I did want to add lastly, when I asked you what was it that made the women vulnerable, you talked about the emotional vulnerability. And that's when you started talking about wanting a black man. So it's like you brought that into the conversation. And so now to say that it's not relevant, I feel like the nuance of this is far greater than we could have covered in this conversation. I learned a lot. Some of the questions that I asked were questions that I saw people typing in the comments and wanted to be able to get an answer for. I am going to read the apples after you all get off of the air, but I want you all to tell people about the projects that you're working on, how they can connect with you. There were some people that wanted to know about your manhood project. There are people who want to know about Stephanie and what Stephanie is into and how they can connect and support. So please take this time to let the people know, because I know it's late in the United States, it's even later in Brazil. So I am going to let you all give your closing, and then we're going to jump out of here. We're going to talk to the couple first, then Helena. We're going to let you give your closing. Helena, but you've been quiet for so long. Give me your final thoughts on everything that we talked about, even with the colorism, everything. Just final thoughts.
Yeah, I am learning a lot with this wonderful couple. And my final thoughts is I think we shouldn't focus on whatever it's happening on any culture, but really put the highlights in the predators, take the highlights and bring to them. And I'm saying that to all people that are asking those questions, that it's nice that everybody's so curious about our ways. And I think we can maybe have many shows about Brazilians. We are a really big country, and we have a really rich culture, but I think the highlights is on them. The highlights is about this passport bros and why they shouldn't keep doing what they're doing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. And then now, Tulio.
Mr. Farm. Y'all. Hold on, let me break this down for you. Okay. Now y'all know men, they going off of looks. Okay. So in his mind, in his mind, okay, in his mind, okay, Brazilian mix is completely different. Isn't the same here in America. In America. Interesting. Interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. Because yeah, that makes sense to me. But it's crazy how this is the thing. It's crazy how the mixed chicks are different in Brazil than they are in the US, but black women are having the same experience. It's interesting. It's interesting to me. It's so interesting to me how different that is. So
Oh, and Stephanie, please give us your final words on the whole conversation, everything from beginning to end. Just your final words on that.
Eu acho que eu queria finalizar dizendo que eu estou muito feliz que a gente tenha trocado, porque eu acho que é muito importante a gente entender que, independente das diferentes culturas, a gente está pensando no bem-estar de mulheres e pessoas negras pelo mundo. Ponto. Então, acho que é muito mais importante a troca. E que eu tenho amigos americanos, o Túlio também, e que nós trocamos no sentido de trocar, conhecer, aprender, entender, se abrir para uma outra cultura. E esses homens dos passport bros, eles não estão fazendo isso. Eles estão vindo numa lógica de deixar um rastro de destruição, não de compartilhar, trocar, compreender a nossa cultura e nós enquanto pessoas.
That's beautiful. She's really happy for this conversation, this exchange. We have American friends, and we have been talking with them about this. And so, even though, despite the cultural differences, we think that we can get a connection, bring a dialogue, and to learn from each other. And for her, it's really important to talk, to denounce, to expose these passport bros, because unfortunately, they are not pursuing the connection. They are not pursuing the dialogue. They are pursuing exploration. They are pursuing domination. They are pursuing oppression. So this is not how we should talk about exchange, cultural exchange. So that's why it's important to talk about this. And as a feminist, she believes that this kind of behavior affects us, the women, and the whole society.
E você quer falar alguma coisa?
Não.
Fala alguma coisa. Fala. Ele fala alguma coisa. Fala, não, fala. Agradece.
Yeah, I really would like to thank you. I'm sorry the craziness, because I spent the whole day working and giving classes and studying French and well.
Yeah,
so I'm
no, you
mixing-
know what? We're all tired. I'm tired. Helena's tired. Everybody has to work tomorrow. But I thought the conversation was really important. And so I appreciate you all coming out and having the conversation. I appreciate you all answering tough questions and answering personal questions and answering cultural questions, you know, as best as you could. So I am appreciative. Thank you for that. Tulio, Stephanie, people want to know how to get in touch with you on your social media. They want to know, Stephanie, if you have
Okay, so I'm gonna end the live right there, you guys. I'm not mixed. Okay, I'm Black. My parents are Black. I feel like I gotta do this every time. My parents are Black. My grandparents are Black. My great grandparents are Black. My family originated from Mississippi, and I'm 50% Nigerian. A lot of people say they could tell by my nose. I don't know about that. But yeah. And then I forgot my other percentages, but y'all, I'm Black, okay? And I don't know what else to say. But I can see where the confusion is coming in, because again, I told y'all that when it comes to light-skinned Black women, our image is being replaced by biracial Black women. And a lot of times, like, we're getting confused with them. And it's like, no, I'm Black. She's biracial. But now when you guys look out into the media, you know, a lot of the, like, quote unquote light-skinned Black girls are like actual biracial women. So that's part of the problem, y'all. That's part of the problem. So no, I just have to make it known on my platform that I am in fact a Black woman, 50% Nigerian, and I am also from Mississippi. I'll just say that. But yeah, that's all that I got. But I'm going to go ahead and end the live here, you guys. Please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video. Also, make sure you go back and you support Tonya as well on her channel, because she was able to bring us this content tonight. You got to support, even if you just go to the video and just like the video, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to continue to do these reactions. You got to support the original creator, okay? So that's pretty much all that I have regarding this video. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. As you all know, I'm going home for a few days, so I probably won't be on YouTube, probably not until like next either Monday or Tuesday, most likely Tuesday, and I'll just see you guys then. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys. Good night. Good night. I say, what did I say, Tonya? Oh, it's Toya. Why does everybody say Tonya? I've been saying Tonya TKO this whole time. Y'all have a nice night.